Welcome everyone to week 2 of the International Clash. I'm super excited for this game today. I'm Ranior Orion, and with me is BowserHugs.
Hello there. How you feeling? Yeah, quite stoked to be there on this second week. It's like last week we saw Europe putting a solid show, and just as they should, beating everyone else down, and just hoping that my teammate, my comrades, let's say, will be able to repeat the exploits.
Yeah, that is fair. This will be an exciting week. We have a Team Asia hosting, and the reason I'm super excited is that this will be the first showing of the Fjords map in Fire 2 tournaments. And I am a huge fan of this map. It'll be interesting to talk about some of the unique features of it today, but I am really pumped about that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting map. It's like I'm very keen to try and see how I can try to comment and see all the analysis and all the different plays, because I'm notoriously bad at it. Like the best thing I've done on it is being third on a 7-player game. That's about it. So.
That's fair. But yeah, the other exciting stuff, the overall standings of the International Clash, we had just 1 week, so week 2 here. Team Brazil is in 4th place, and they're the ones that we'll really be watching. We got 3 more games scheduled after this, and each country hosts 1 week, meaning they get to pick the map and tournament settings, and at the end of those 5 weeks, the top country will get to pick the settings for the final, and the bottom country is just out of the tournament. So lots at stake here in the early parts of this tournament.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's we can see a whole lot of diversity on the different settings. It's shown we have fjords off landscapes today, but I'm very keen on seeing the revised base map with landscapes on. So, that's gonna be a good show as well.
Agreed. It's really kind of fun that everybody picked slightly different map and settings. So anyhow, the way this works today is each team has 4 players. 1 player is essentially the person actually inputting the controls, but they're in voice chats communicating, trying to strategize with each other to play the best possible game. And so yeah, each country has 4 people on a voice chat today, and they are very strong players across the board. These are some stacked teams.
Yeah, today I think we have Gino for Europe, Chris Ho for Canada, FireX for Asia, and Rafael for you in Brazil. It's really proper solid players. A good show off. Hey.
Exactly. Those 4 players are already at least top 50, if not top 20 players, and then they have a team behind them of other top players giving them even further insights and advice. So it should be some really high level play that we'll be watching today.
Yeah. Well.
Speaking of FireX being the leader of Team Asia today, I think that's part of why they picked these settings. The Fjords map is still kind of new, and especially to BGA, but me and FireX and others were pretty heavy in the playtesting process on Fjords back when it was getting created, and then it later got published with the Merchants of the Seas expansion. But I think FireX has a decent edge on this map, so I think it was a really smart pick from Team Asia.
Okay, yeah, good to know. You were quite involved as well on the test of Fjords,
Yeah, I was fairly involved with some of the playtesting, but FireX played a lot of games too back when we were bucking about with the map. Although admittedly, both him and I have experience when the map looked slightly different, right? Every once in a while, I still have a slight uncanny valley when I look at the map and I'm like, oh wait, that hex is green now.
Yeah.
But yeah, still, I do think FireX is one of the most experienced players on this map, so we'll see how much that might help Team Asia. But the other teams, I don't know, some of them have some experience, but this map only got added to BGA, 2-3 months ago? I'm not quite sure. And
yeah,
some of these players basically only play on Board Game Arena, and so I think they've had a lot less time to get used to some of the intricacies on this map.
Yeah. We actually seem to have a game started.
Awesome.
Now we see this sweet setting.
Yeah, I'm always excited. Like it's unwrapping a present, right? To like see what the
Yeah.
track is and what sort of features and textures we're gonna have to this game. The setup for Terra Mystic is randomized, and everything after this, there's really no random elements. But the opening tiles and opening round boosters here definitely give some insights into how to kind of score and play. So, what are your initial thoughts upon seeing this?
Just to make sure on the first of all, see which body stars are absolutely not there. So we miss out on priests, the 4 gold and call bump, and the big building, the big dump tile. So that's there's a bit of a lacking presence of cults from the bonus tile. So any culty faction might have an easier time doing anything else, while actually just imposing their culty play style. So that's something that could be quite interesting to watch out for. And when we look at the track, starting up from the round 6 downwards, we have the dwelling events in round 6, which shows that it might be a very good economy track, like economy oriented track as well, because we'll have like all these alternated events. So we just yeah,
Yeah, I think the scoring track on the whole is pretty interesting. Digging and dwellings in the first 2 rounds tends to be what a lot of factions like to do anyhow. They tend to like to kind of expand and spread out. Trading Post in 3 is a little early for some factions, but some factions are pretty good at it. And then it kind of correlates decently with round 4 towns. If you can, it's possible for some factions to make 2 towns in that round, and that could be a pretty big edge for some factions if they hit that. And then there's also some cult rewards. The early cult coins on Earth can be big for quite a few factions, and then we got lots of spades in the mid game.
yeah.
So yeah, I think there's some really interesting stuff going on here. I think a lot of the focus is going to be what faction gets to expand rapidly in those first 2 rounds, and what factions are able to hit towns in round 4.
Yeah, most definitely, because the race seems on like to be more of a double spade action 6 game more than an Earth 1 game. It's like usually it's this dichotomy, like which faction starts with Earth 1, which faction starts with double. On this particular setup, it definitely looks like more important to get double spade because you already have 2 dwelling events in the dwelling pass tile. So yeah, as you said, like the faction who is able to expand the quickest seems to be in very good shape.
So we see Team Asia was picking first. We're selecting factions into an auction here, and Team Asia has put in dwarves. I really like that pick. This map, one of the features is that it's quite friendly to dwarves overall. It might actually be dwarves' best map, and I think the track here is reasonable for dwarves. It's not incredible, but it's very playable, and I think it's a smart pick from Team Asia to try to give themselves an edge here on some of the trickiness of how to really leverage dwarves on this map.
Yeah, especially when you think like on possible dwarves opener, like if they manage to they can forego Earth 1 entirely, just get Earth 2 and get an insured double spade, because since they're in first seat, they will be able to, for example, just get Absorb some Leech early on and then get double spade on their second action, which in turn turns out to get like a whole good Earth presence if they go for Earth 2, so they can leverage like those early 2 rounds fairly efficiently.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have some cool stuff. The next pick we see is mermaids. The pass tiles are certainly friendly to mermaids, but mermaids are a tricky faction on this map in my opinion, so we'll see how well everybody evaluates them. But basically a lot of the blue hexes you'll notice are kind of on the outside periphery of the map and or landlocked, so they're not really accessible easily from the water, and mermaids' main strength is kind of shipping around. One of the overarching themes of this map is that these kind of 2 central landmasses are where a lot of the early action happens, and then factions tend to kind of expand outward after that into the edges of the map. And so usually factions that kind of fight and contest this center area early are better, but mermaids have a weird issue with that because they kind of want to just expand to cheap blue hexes, but they're all on the outside of the map. So
yeah,
tricky dynamic for them, yeah.
yeah, it's like what surprises me when I started playing on this map. It's like, oh yeah, let's just play mermaids and do whatever we did on the base map. Yeah, we'll just take them ship and score a complete whaling rush, and then you start on fjords. Like, I can't do that. I'll need more. I'll just like easy early expansions are actually a bit more difficult. It's just like you work around a whole lot of different hexes. It's very interesting. And we see a halfling pick as well in the third faction. Seems pretty good on the earth and air track for the cult rewards
The cult
section.
the cult rewards are certainly good here. Halflings are another faction I think is really tricky on this map. One of the things halflings love to do is dig, and they have really cheap dig upgrades, but it's very worker intensive, and so that tends to mean halflings like to dig to put out their dwellings early. But on this map, there's not a lot of areas for them to. It can be a little hard to get that worker economy really rolling rapidly. And they're actually one of the factions I think that we've always struggled with a little in playtesting this map and trying to make it good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's
Yeah,
an interesting pick.
it is interesting because yeah, on what you said on worker economy is like one thing that I found myself struggling with the halflings. Their starting placements. Like usually, they like brown seems to have fairly difficult starting placements on this map. The H4 this H4 dwelling over there seems usually pretty good because you can expand over there, you can expand over there, which is pretty good as well. But it's like it's not on base map where they have two sequences of brown, black, brown hexes where just if they use a single like just a single double spade, they can have access to four hexes. Here they have to work a bit harder to get that, or to get some temp shape going on to get to cross these hexes or these hexes. So
Yeah,
indeed, it's definitely trickier to get a better worker economy going on. So that's and very interesting to see how halflings will be played on this map
I
by pro
I
players.
agree. And the other thing that I'm just interested in now too is the three factions that we've seen put in thus far do all really kind of want to get double spade and early dwellings out. So they all are gonna like fit those first two rounds well, but it might be tricky for all these factions to get enough spades early that they want. So I do
Yep.
think fighting for the especially that double dig action is going to be a real key indicator of who's going to have a good game early.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like because on the topic of spades, usually we can consider that the faction on seat 4 will get the spade power tile, the bonus tile, and then right afterwards, halflings usually will get the worker power. Dwarves will take. I do not know. Mermaids, sorry, will possibly take temship, and then dwarves will do. I don't quite know yet, and then we can say that mermaids will actually get double dig first if they really want to, instead of taking their chances of giving it up to halflings. So dwarves might actually be in a fairly tough position that they might not be able to get neither the spade pastile, spade pass, nor action six, like the double
Yeah.
spade. So that
Um,
starts to be a bit tricky for them.
we do see the final pick as Darklings. Darklings are just broadly versatile and are fine on this map, as on pretty much every map, and I think they
Mm.
fit the track here well enough too. So I think it's a reasonable pick, but it does create some awkward color situations.
Yeah,
I think dwarves are just pretty clearly the best faction here, and we'll see them bid. Without any color neighbors and this map being quite friendly to them, I think there's a lot to like.
yeah,
Uh, we have the ability to kind of muck about here and like basically place dwellings where we think people are going to start, and we're going to kind of do that right here and play around with some stuff. So uh, broadly, I think one of the interesting things is like Darklings often like to start on this hex, but then
yeah.
Halflings often like to be here, and Mermaids often like to be here, which means Darklings are kind of trapped and might not love
Yeah.
that.
We
Dwarves
get
are
it.
very likely to
Dwarves.
start
Yeah,
there. We both
just to
agree on
get
that.
all that leech.
Yep. I would expect Dwarves probably pick here as well. Mermaids tend to like to be here, but again, Darklings also often like to be here, which creates a lot of tough lives for mermaids and darklings. We actually see Team Asia bid mermaids first, and I think that's probably
Yeah,
wrong. I'm guessing the reason they're doing it is because I do think mermaids are going to get the double dig in round one, and we did say
yeah.
that was really important, but
Yeah, because I think like securing those like mermaids being able to get a double spade even on their first action seems like so important. Should they start at where you place them? It's that getting double spade seems just so important to get this hex to be able to go there because it will be contested by it could be very much contested by dwarf as well being there.
Yeah.
So and they can
Ha
just block darklings off of this green hex and just jump about there. So just
yeah.
it's not too bad. It's defendable, but it might not be optimal. But it's like mermaids are not too bad here.
Yeah, Halfling's initial dwellings are tricky for me to realize here too. Like I have loose ideas, but yeah, it's I don't know if these are exactly the starting spots we're gonna see. But broadly, like I say, the reason I like dwarves is just because it looks like their preferred kind of expansion path is gonna be pretty there. This stuff looks great.
Yep,
This green, as you pointed out, probably good, but like they have this or this, and the only long-term issue for dwarves on this map is usually connecting, but I
connecting.
think I think they could connect through this northern stuff reasonably likely, or somewhere through some of these guys as all possibilities.
Yeah, because
Um,
there's fairly little competition for example, their red hexes on the north of the map. So they
yeah,
might if they fail to get this F5, let me just show you over there. This F5 green hex, which usually gives them an easy connection going on through this path. They can see, yeah, this can still go around. Just take this hex, for example. Just you can jump about there, 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 and like going up all this way around, as you said. It's like there's yet no one will really contest them properly in time to to prevent them from connecting.
yeah. Uh, so I agree on all that. One of the tricky parts for mermaids on this map, that is, yeah, finding towns. So, like, I agree, mermaids would like this stretch, but they definitely have to fight dwarves for that green right next to them. So that might be why they double dig first action. Towning here with a sanctuary type stuff can happen, but it's a couple of digs.
Yeah.
So it is possible mermaids might actually choose to put their other dwelling here, and maybe they don't start in the center. But the danger for that then is long term the connection becomes really tricky.
Yeah. Well, I think mermaids can still have a pretty good game. Starting if like should they want to get this double spade, taking F5 and F8, those two hexes, and then
Well,
as you said, turn down
so
out.
so I just realized an issue though, right? We have Darklings in the game, and if you turn a
Yeah,
hex blue next to Darklings, they just take it on you. So can you
yeah.
double dig those hexes?
Not really. That's one of the reasons why I like Darklings this on this setup because they will be able to get the spade if they want to, like which if they really like they can, and put their priests to get an early presence on the Earth track, and still get use of spade and put some threats like on everybody's game. So that's something I really like about Darklings there.
Yeah, and again, to be fair, I'm not even sure these will be Darkling spots with absolute certainty, though. It is again this center one that I have them on. Like this hex again, it's a little awkward if everybody starts and surrounds them. Darklings can eventually dig, but it can be hard to get a ton of priests to aggressively dig a lot of hexes early. So
Yeah,
I suspect we might see people not bid on Darklings for a little while just because of that hesitancy about exactly where you'd expand to early.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. For now, we see people just fighting on dwarves a fair bit because like, dwarves are not in the sandwich, so they like have all the way they actually everything you could actually want this
We
on this
we
track.
do, yeah, we still do see quite a bit on mermaids. I mean,
Yeah,
personally, I would be bidding dwarves a lot. I don't think
yeah,
mermaids are that close to dwarves, but maybe I'm missing how tricky certain things will be for dwarves. I do think dwarves might just get spade blocked in round one.
yeah. That's that's the main issue I have with them at this very moment because unless they take let's say let's say the ship VP tile to snatch a single dig as their first action, they might very well just get blocked. Indeed, like with
But
mermaids taking the double spade and possibly halflings taking the single spade as well.
yeah, but alternatively, I mean, dwarves can open temple, just do. a tunnel and then
Yeah,
pass first and get double dig in round two? And is that a particularly bad position? I think not. I think
it's
that's
not.
pretty good still.
Yeah, it is still pretty good because it means that they would be able to get Earth One, regard like if they wanted to, because if they have less pressure on the split there, they can get Earth One, and then yeah, they can just score a fair bunch, knowing that their hexes will have very little are under very little threat, so they have time to get their space. They can just jump them out.
Yeah, I think that's likely, but regardless, it's there's certainly some interesting bidding here. I'm gonna yeah loop back to just talking a little more broadly about the map. So while we have some of these dwellings and guesses, one of the kind of key features, as you can see, just where people are starting is like this area of the map tends to be the kind of early, everybody starts loosely in this range and fights for hexes in this center. And again, I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of winning on this map involves really securing your town space and your connection through this central area. One of the tough parts of connecting is that, yeah, there's just this like thin little riverway in the center, and you can get super blocked from connection if all of these hexes get taken, because then your only connection path is to go all the way around the outside of the map. Sometimes if you can't ship down the center, uh, so I don't know
Yeah.
if there's a ton of concern here, except again, yeah, maybe dwarves get blocked from this kind of central connection path and have to go through the north, which they probably can. But like
Oh,
mermaids, if they do lose this blue hex, they sometimes have no connection path really. So
yeah. Yeah, and how things might also have some trouble actually connecting, or at least connecting for cheap, because as you looks at it, they start over there. They can actually go there, but it will cost them fair bits, and they can just go around there. So it like halfling's connection path is a bit tricky. Should mermaids start here, they might just want to take this territory, and then how do they will need about 3 shipping to just connect from this hex and this hex. It's just like all very expensive stuff.
yeah, well, and again, I'm still not even sure I have the halflane starting spots at all correct. I mean, I think there is a chance halflanes will put one dwelling up over here and try to make use of, this stretch, which is quite nice.
Yeah,
But then connection is really difficult. Um, Now, I mean, on some level here, I think dwarves are going to have a pretty clean path to biggest network if they connect. I
yeah.
think mermaids will have a fine network, and so on some level, I don't know if halflings even should be too worried about network, but we'll see.
Not quite sure. Yeah, just halflings because it seems like we do now have a bit on darklings. Halflings will likely be a 30 points faction, so they can just focus on getting a bit of cult presence, say about scoring 12 points of cults, a bit on network, and then just using their internal scoring to just compensate the fact that they can't really do much on network,
Yeah,
and just hitting the best tiles, upgrading like shipping and stuff, rather than just
absolutely.
going for network.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that we didn't really cover is that cults situation. So now that we have all these factions, none of these factions are like super culty. The
Mm-hmm.
most kind of culty faction is dwarves, and the main reason is just because they're priests. They don't need to
They don't
invest in
just
shipping or anything, or
yeah
dig upgrades necessarily. So they tend to send most of their priests to the cults.
yeah.
And with round five event, we have every priest on the cult will pay out 2 coins in the final round, so that could be a nice boost of coins into the final round. So I do think part of the reason I like dwarves here is not just because I think they should have a good network and expansion, but I think they should have a pretty clean cult score too.
Yeah. Yeah, we might see some battling between Darklings and Dwarf on the Earth track. Not sure whether Halflings would actually be able to fare well on the Earth. They might be just interested in air instead, and mermaids on water. But yeah, dwarves are a bit like they can just they have time to actually fight cults, so they can play a fairly culty game, like even going for 2 key down or something. It's just jump like to secure their position on cards and discourage everyone else to actually fight them on it, and then just jump about and catching up on, let's say, Darkling's internal scoring, like while they're using their priest to dig, then they just
Yeah,
jump about and they score even more. So it's just they
yeah,
assert their dominance over what everything else is trying to do.
agreed.
Oh,
And
goodness.
one of the other things that we mentioned, and I should loop back to, but yeah, we are missing that cult coins pass tile and the priest pass tile, which both kind of help factions move up the cults. So there's really no cult support here.
Yep.
So I think that race for the two key town is actually very important this game. I think that thing is going to be very valuable because it should just score you a lot of cult points. Um,
Yeah.
so which faction is going to rush that first town and hit it? I don't know for sure, but again, I think dwarves have to be at least somewhat
Yeah.
a favorite for potentially achieving that. So
They,
I still think dwarves should be bid a decent bit more, but these, as a whole, they're bidding mermaids. So I might be missing things, or it might just be, experts can have different evaluations of things.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just very not used on like I've never played mermaids on this map, so I can't really say anything relevant about them. So, but I guess like if you start early on with them with like a double D, possibly some very good early expansion, you might indeed have a shot at getting that town first. For example, if they start on F8 and just go around there, they'll have a neighbor on this green on F8, and just they can have like a pretty good town early town setup right there,
That's
and
true,
then
actually. Yeah.
they can have a plan where they just upgrade shipping a whole bunch, use the ship VP tile to score points, and then um, use the round 6 dwelling event to dish out their last dwellings and just do well, score a whole lot actually, and just possibly hit network probably. Like
Yeah,
having a good spot on network.
I
Uh,
think you've laid out exactly why these guys are bidding on mermaids. There is a path where yeah, mermaids get the early double dig, they get good natural expansion, they find some central town space, and if they are the first to that two key town, they probably get a priest to water and then get that extra priest from the cult in round two, which gives them a lot of early priests as well. So maybe mermaids will be fairly culty here, and then I agree that they always have the option of trying to kind of their pastiles are very good for them to score off of with the dwelling scoring and the ship scoring. So
yeah, we can hopefully now see the first attempt at dislodging anyone from Darklings, starting to be beat down a fair bunch.
yeah,
I will see how low they go before everyone goes back to dwarves who just jump in for an opportunistic halflings.
I think we're probably in for another couple minutes of bidding anyhow.
Yeah,
I do think halflings are tricky here.
they
But we'll
are.
see.
They really are because they like without securing the double spade, their viability takes a bit of a hit, really. So they might like if they consider that they're not getting this like the double spade, they might just want to take something like temp ship or like early shipping and go, as you said, this stretch to just secure their worker production, possibly even this one as well, to
I
just make
I
sure.
I was gonna say like starting over here is slightly tempting. The big issue is if you like start here and here on these lines, you don't necessarily have a neighbor.
Yeah,
But I suppose you do get a neighbor. Once you build this hex, you should have a neighbor. So
yeah, but you will be missing out on early leech. Like if everyone wants to leech party, you're there.
it,
It starts to be
and
difficult.
you have no long-term network. So I
Yeah,
totally think it makes sense to not bid halflings for a while. Like even if that's an okay option, it's quite a bit less exciting, I think, than these other factions.
yeah. Like since they can play like they. That's one thing I find a bit tricky with halflings on this setup. So like all the other three factions have like a fairly solid plan, or at least some flexibility in playing cults and network. While halflings, I just don't see it as much. All right,
Yeah,
so
very, very agreed. I think that's a really good point. I do think all of mermaids, dwarves, darklings have some flexibility here on how to earn points. They could potentially get, you know, multiple towns. They can potentially get some good cults. They can potentially get network. Halflings, it just seems hard for them to contest network. It seems hard for them to contest cults because halflings really need their early priests to advance digs.
Yeah,
Um, and so yeah, that just leads to a tough cycle for to figure out what niche halflings have here. And so I'd expect the bidding to kind of continue. All these teams are kind of low on their thinking time already. So one of my experiences last week from playing on Team USA is that while it is really nice to have four experts discussing the game, that discussion can take time, and I do
yeah,
think you can spend too much time discussing not very important decisions. Um,
hmm
Now, making sure you're bidding on the right faction probably is worth spending your time, but this early
yeah,
part of the game is tough, and a lot of these teams do not have a lot of time banked for the upcoming difficult decisions of where to start and how to make the first couple turns go. So,
indeed. Yeah. Brazil's thinking a fair bit, and
I
yeah,
mean,
still
yeah, their
trying to
clock's down to
decide.
20 seconds. Now, each turn you get another whatever, couple, like what, you get 40
30
seconds
seconds,
per
something.
turn, 30
Yeah,
seconds? Yeah, I'd have to look.
something
I
like
mean,
that.
it's reasonable, but your max clock is 3 minutes, and yeah, Brazil's getting really close here to timing. Well, there they go, but they're down to seven
Okay.
seconds. Like that can really cause them some issues in this opening if they have to rush out some upcoming moves without really getting to discuss them.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, just some panic bidding and just going down like hurting your long game plan, like your long term plan with by not letting you have enough time
Yeah,
to think. It's like let's just try some proper bullet play on this international clash.
yeah,
What's the worst that could happen? But yeah, dwarves. Yeah, to me, like dwarves seems just really solid on this stretch. Like on their expansion, they ought to have some nice neighbors. Maybe not on the west, because like on this stretch, for example, they can have an easy temple here, but they're and possibly a neighbor over there should mermaid style on the north. But for the rest of them, they'll have some difficulty. They might have some difficulty getting their neighbors.
yeah. One thing I did realize that is if mermaids do start here, this hex could get taken away from dwarves, and that actually is troubling.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, because they can have access to all this stretch as well. If should halflings not
yeah,
decide not to start over there, and they could have like some really nice expansion and neighbors as well, while looking out on dwarves. So that's
yeah.
you need that for very nice placements, something to
I,
look out for.
Correct, but and then again, one of the really fun parts, in my opinion, of this map is again like you have to constantly debate where you want to like expand early, and then how that's going to impact your long-term expansion. So if mermaids do go for this stuff, suddenly Darklings are very likely to take this hex, and now mermaid's connection path is prey. I mean,
Difficult.
it becomes much trickier. Like you could potentially loop all the way around the outside later by maybe you get onto like this blue hex and take one of these blacks and you connect on like ship 4 or whatever.
Yep.
But it becomes a lot more of like a headache and a liability. So
Yeah, and you might depending on where people update, you might just not get just some very low amounts of leech on the early game.
yeah.
So,
So while I'm trying to like constantly keep thinking through what various factions are going to do, Darklings it depends a lot, I think, on where people start. Because if Darklings get, this stretch for a town and they get something through here, that's a pretty good outcome for them. But
yes.
they do run out of expansion space potentially if they use these starting spots.
Yeah.
So maybe Darklings gives up on. Whoops. Darklings might give up on something and like actually start here potentially. I mean, this doesn't give great expansion either, though. So, um,
It's still give them access to this hex quite easily with a bit of shipping as well, and should mermaids not choose not to place there, they can if should Estalia they have all this and then they're pretty good on network. It's just requiring just one ship
Yeah.
and a couple split, and just
I,
you can just jump
I
about. And
agree. Darkling's like this area just for some cheap hexes, but again, then the connection is tough if you can't somehow like dig through. Um, so
so yeah, it's like Darkling's plan might be like hanging on the thread by Halfling's placement. That's something I
I,
really like about the setup. It's like whether or not Halflings will start over there.
there is a lot of uncertainty here with the colors that got picked, where they're going to start, and yeah, who's going to get digs, what hexes are they going to take. It's going to shape a lot of the early game. Um, and it could be tough for some of these factions. It could get pretty rough, which is unfortunate. I personally really like to see games where every faction has pretty good options, and it's going to lead to a really interesting game, a tight game throughout. Um, on some level, like the Darkling's pick here just didn't necessarily fit a color wheel. I wonder if like a Nomad's pick would have maybe made it more
Yeah,
survivable for everyone. But uh, these sorts of games are fine too. But yeah, we definitely have a tight color wheel with blue, brown, and black all next to each other on the color wheel.
hmm
Um, it can mean that none of those factions, or one of those factions, could get kind of screwed out of getting good expansion.
yeah, yeah. That's what you to look back to what you said about nomads. That's actually one of the factions I really hoped to see on the during the faction selection process because by so let's say common knowledge disbanded from Chris Ho is like nomads really love their round three trading post. That's basically where when they actually want to put them out, so they could just get some temple early dwellings on the first two rounds, and then just go crazy on their trading post and have a beast of an economy. That's really what something I really wanted to see on this particular setup. It seemed really strong.
I commiserate as little as well. I agree. I think the game might have been a little more interesting from my point of view, but these guys are
Yeah.
competing and they're trying to put in whatever faction they thought was going to give them the best edge. So
Yeah.
ultimately, Team Canada thought just throwing in Darklings and having them in was gonna serve them best, and fair enough.
hmm But that's the thing. Because as you said, like picking whatever faction would give a good edge for teams. It's like in Team Europe we have Zivok, and I might just spoil a bit of our secrets. Secret discussions, but like Zivok is very confident about how to play nomads as well, so that's something I'm a bit surprised he didn't. Like he's not in the lead, but for this week. But I'm fairly surprised there was not much of a lobbying to get nomads out for this setup because I think he would have been able to help the pilots going through a fairly good game.
Yeah, that's fair. Although one of the really interesting like mentions on that front is like a lot of these like old great like Zivok is a legend from playing on Snellman. He's one of like highest rated player, etc. He was a dominant force in the early tournament scene for Terra Mystica. Um, but again, this map is like almost completely new to him. I don't know if he's really played on it. So there's a lot of skills in Terra Mystica that are absolutely transferable, and he'll still have some great insights. But some of the intricacies of the map, I don't know if he can speak to at all. And maybe he makes a slight mistake in judgment because he's not familiar with some of the maps or the dynamics. And that's again why I think Team Asia picked this map. I think they're really hoping that FireX's experience is going to help give them the edge today.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you usually have some teammates that just back you off on every little weaknesses you could have, just like the importance of having different points of view and on the
I I do think Team Asia is like, or not. Sorry, yeah, I do think Team Asia probably has like the most collective experience with the map, but I do think Team Brazil actually knows this map quite well too. Logus has played in
yeah.
the Fjords Tournament League on Snellman, and he even won.
Mm-hmm.
I think he won D1 once. And so like he's proven to be a very strong player, and he does have experience on Fjords. So I think Brazil also has a decent leg up today. Um, but yeah, I don't know totally what Europe's or Canada's experience is playing on the map. They certainly have a bit. It's been at it again. It's been on BJ for a little while, and I know some of them were
Yeah.
practicing on it. But I think we're talking like Canada and Europe have a couple of games each, maybe up to a dozen, whereas I think FireX, might be approaching 100 games on Fjords or something.
Yeah, that's definitely an advantage of proper solid grounding for a good showing there. But yeah, just something that's a bit well, that's for some
The
another
bids
time.
are
We do have
over.
actions.
Excellent. Yeah, this is exciting.
Now let's see.
So our dwellings and stuff are gonna get wiped off, and we are soon gonna see where they're actually placing. The factions in the bids, we have Team Europe with dwarves for 19 points. We have Team Brazil with mermaids at 15. Team Asia with halflings at 30, and Team Canada darklings at 21.
Yes, I still think. Well, I might be a bit biased, but I still think Team Europe got a fairly good deal on the auction there. Like getting the non-sandwiched faction for 19 seems okay.
I agree with you. As much as in the overall standings, I want Team USA to win. Team Europe already has the one win banked, and if I had to pick a winner out of the auction, I think I agree with you. I still am convinced Dwarves will have a pretty clean game on some cult, some network, good expansion. We'll see. Maybe mermaids are going to mess with more of their hex, like more greens than I think. Maybe dwarves' life is going to be harder than I expect, but I'm really excited to see what Fire Action is going to do with halflings on this map. It was one thing I always struggled with, as I said, and
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that they took them. So.
Yeah, indeed. Because as you said, if they have like a 100 games in the of experience on this map, it's like really interesting to see how they're going to fare on this. So yeah, but the thing is, like I said, like dwarves had a good deal. I think darklings did have a really good deal as well. Yes, they're sandwiched, but they're going to get a whole lot of leech on their positions, and they're good on the economy on their cults. Like the cult rewards are going to be great for them. I think they can just.
I started to sour on them, especially with these starting spots. Well, it'll be interesting where they put their second one, but I don't think they have a clear second spot here, because going for the spot right in the center that has a ton of leech, I think their long-term expansion is going to be super ugly if they choose that spot. But
it could, though. I think there will be fairly little competition for the F4 hex, the yellow just on top of the dwarf's dwelling placement. And they may be a bit late to the party to actually get there, but should they start on G5 to soak up all that leech, they can just go up north. They can go into E4 and F4 and just have a fairly solid, difficultly contested sanctuary town right there, and then they can jump about on C4, C5, A6 with one ship. I think you can still do pretty well.
So I agree, if they can kind of start and then still manage to get connected and stuff, like there is a way that life goes pretty well for Darklings still, but I don't know, there are some dangers where Darklings just run out of expansion room. Like you can only Darklings are like stupidly flexible, but one way that you can kill them is if you force them to actually have to dig a stupid amount for all their hexes. And it looks like Darklings are going to have no easy hexes early here, especially with halflings choosing that starting spot.
Oh yeah, loving it.
This is juicy, yeah.
Oh.
Wow, that's okay. Mermaids are going for some funny stuff too.
Okay. Yeah, well, it does leave a bit of room for Darklings to go on F7, for example, but on their blue hex on the western landmass, on the eastern landmass. But yeah, it's just really funky stuff. Like my first reaction, shock.
I should have foreseen this. This is actually totally viable. Yeah, I mean, it's a little less leech for mermaids early, but it is better expansion. I expect they're going to take those greens first action next to both their hexes. Like I still assume mermaids are double digging this game. And that is gonna that's gonna make dwarves' life a little harder. So
yeah. Well, they can still they can have a pretty good for example, sanctuary town down from G4 down to H3 I2. But yeah, let's say their connection path will likely require to jump on e5 on the red hexes on e5, and then they'll have some play. But their early expansion will, like their town space, will be a bit more difficult to achieve unless they go to e8 to the center gray on the eastern landmass, and just wait for their things to just go up on f7 and just there you go. They can just wait for neighbors over there.
Yeah.
All in all, yes, dark things do take the spade. Probably see a halfling killer taking temp chip or worker power, is my guess.
It's worker power, yep. So a lot of our predictions, I think, on the past tiles are going to come true. I would expect mermaids now to take temp ship, or possibly just the ship power, because I don't know if they really need the temp. I don't know if they need the extra ship in round one or not.
They don't in round one. They probably don't need it because if they want to dig f3 and do 2 green hexes on the western landmass, f3 and f5, then they don't need to reach b3 straight up. So temp ship is not exactly super useful straight away for them.
The other question here is if we're gonna see, is it possible we're gonna see dwarves just rush? Like I'm expecting, I guess at this point, dwarves are just gonna go for Earth 1. I expect darklings to go Earth 1. I expect mermaids to double dig, and then halflings probably just take Earth 1 as well. Is what I expect to see the first couple actions be. That's usually how these kind of high-level games break down. Whoever gets double dig often gets blocked from Earth 1.
Yeah. And they go for coins. So they don't want to rush an action, a single spade. So just soaking up on their leech and probably just jump about and take double dig.
The upshot is if what I just said is true, it's also entirely possible that dwarves get to go for Earth 1 and they wheel single dig this round still. But dwarves, mermaids are taking these green hexes, which was expected.
It was very expected. So dwarves connection path will likely start to rely on the red hex on e5.
Yeah, there's maybe a path for dwarves to get kind of that southern gray and then that red now that's next to mermaids and then the other gray. Like they still have connection paths, but it's going to be a concern for dwarves. So if dwarves do connect though, I still think they're in a good spot. But this is a little more awkward of a start than I was maybe foreseeing for dwarves. Wow, okay, and halflings actually decide they need the single dig. Which is fair, they probably do.
Yeah, they're very likely to do, but this one of the issues with halflings, like getting stranded of singles of their double spade early on, and possibly now from Earth 1 as well, like depending on whatever mermaids want to go for.
I was going to say, mermaids can now get a copy of Earth 1 if they want, so...
halflings do not seem into that great of a position here, but I'm very, very keen on being surprised.
I do think halflings just going for early worker production here, going for a temple, going for Earth 2, maybe it's fine, but it's definitely an interesting path to figure out. Darklings are getting very surrounded as well. I don't know if Darklings are getting... I do think this spot they're upgrading right now is basically just going to get completely surrounded. And then, as I say, their other dwelling doesn't give them great expansion long term. So I do think Darklings are actually also in a really tough spot.
Yeah, I'm not that too sure because the economy they're going to get will likely be through the roof, and the F7 hex is not that much contested, and it just can go up north. Like they can develop up north on the eastern landmass, and just allow themselves to have a surrounded building. Like who cares? We've seen, for example, on Fire Night some surrounded giants game that went off really well because they just had such a good economy because of all the early age they got. Okay, and apparently we do have directly from the Ravens Blunder, our special reporter Lizzy, she's been talking to Team Europe, and just got some insight. Hi there, Lizzy. Do you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can definitely hear you.
Perfect. I'm here to report on Team Europe's reaction to the bid and also just some of the starting positions here. Team Europe, they thought dwarves were the best throughout the auction, so they were happy they got the dwarves. They were disappointed that mermaids went E4 because they feel like it could block their expansion. So they were pretty disappointed about that.
Yeah, understandably so.
Right.
Yeah, because it just slows
Yeah.
down F3 hex, like an easy green hex does murder her them a bit.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. do you anything else that might have like apart from their disappointment not getting F3, because obviously.
No, everything I talked to them about I already told you. I just got a
Okay.
few tidbits from them.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But I guess, like as I said, they have like some very good. Like they still have an okay sanctuary tail on G4, H3, I2 on the self. So it's just it slows them down, but I think they're gonna have a great game overall.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm happy to be reporting for you guys today, and I will see you soon. I'll be back with a report on Team Canada.
All right. See you soon.
All right. Yeah, that's great. We got the best sideline reporter in Terra Mystica here today, so it's good times. It's actually really fun to get insight into what some of the teams are thinking. I agree with Team Europe that dwarves are best, so it is fun to hear somebody else think that too. But yeah, I wasn't sure mermaids would go for this. Everything else about this opening round is kind of going as expected. Dwarves and Darklings were going for Earth 1. Mermaids have started to upgrade. Looks like they will get Earth 1, so Halflings probably won't get it. Dwarves are
Mm-hmm.
just passing to guarantee double dig next round. I don't know if I would have. Yeah, I guess they have to do that.
Yeah, they kind of have. One actually fairly important thing that we've seen, it has been said off chat, is that halflings getting that single spade to dig H5 and then upgrading there just kind of removes dwarves from the leech party and makes life even harder for them to actually get a steamrolling start. So that's
Yeah,
a very interesting start.
that is
Because
a great that is a great point actually. Dwarves did get less leech than I thought, and halflings have chosen to give mermaids a lot more leech by upgrading here instead of next to dwarves.
yeah,
Um, so mermaids, they took double dig and they're already back up to almost, six full power. They could take the first priest here potentially, really solidified cult. Darklings
mm-hmm.
also have a ton of power here, but I think they're gotta take workers, although maybe they can rely on wheeling workers. But
No, they could even take a priest if they want to. They have plenty of plays here. Like their workers is actually very good for them because they will need them. And
yeah,
this game, yeah,
there's
go for
just
it,
so
Barons.
much there's just so much power in halflings, mermaids, and darklings here. Like
Mm-hmm.
they really leached off each other a lot. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing. And the one thing that we did not touch on, like during our the analysis of the track and all that, is that this game does seem fairly worker tight. Actually, it's gonna be plenty of coins, but like on the pastels, there's only two pastels who give like a single worker, and like no worker cult income. So it's
yeah.
like securing those early workers just seems like, or like either through hexes or these action 3 double worker action seems like so insanely good and absolutely necessary if you want to build your economy.
Yeah, and getting these early dwellings is so important too, right? I mean, I think that's a little bit of why we stressed whatever factions we're going to get like double digs or spades early would be in a better spot. And indeed, I mean, I think that's a lot of why we saw people bidding mermaids the most. Just getting double dig in round one here has been really good for mermaids economy, but they had to pay a lot for it.
Yeah,
This dwarf start is a lot slower than I thought. I wonder if dwarves were supposed to start with the worker trading post tile, because if they just had one extra worker, they could have at least tunneled, and
yeah,
then they still could have passed on to now the 7 coin tile for double dig. So
yeah,
I do think that's already a one error on Team Europe's part. I think they cost themselves building a dwelling this round.
yeah, very likely. Plus, yes, things did go a bit downhill for for Team Dwarfs there. Yeah, well, just mermaids having like just an impressive start here. It's just
I,
they will likely end up the game like the
T-
round one TA three
Team
bombs.
Asia's decision to give mermaids the leech over upgrading next to dwarves is a pretty big shift in the game, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of extra power for some faction, and halflings gave it to mermaids. So
Yeah. Help us,
now
help you, help us.
halflings got slightly more power as well. So I
Yeah,
understand why they went for it, but yeah, I agree. I don't know if I did expect dwarves to get more early leech as well, which is part of why I tend to like them on this map. But yeah, this has not been the dream start for dwarves, but I don't think it's a total disaster yet.
no, it's not. It's that they can like they're getting double spade next turn, so that it's okay. One faction I'm worried for now is actually halflings. It's like they got their Earth one, they got their spade, but like no Earth two, they went to Earth two, sorry. But then like where how are they gonna expand if they don't get that double dig next turn? Like they don't have any other and they didn't even get temp ship to try and secure the I7 yellow hex to the south or anything, so they might have just a whole lot of trouble like developing their economy.
That is a really strong point, actually. That yeah, halflings just don't have any hexes now. Like again, this loops back to what I said long ago about why this map could be tough for halflings. You just don't have great starting spots where you have a bunch of cheap digs where you can get
Yeah.
a bunch of browns out rapidly. Once halflings
Mhm.
have a bunch of workers, then it's fine, right? Then you just dig and you can power through whatever
Yeah.
once you upgrade digs. But to get to the point where they have enough workers to upgrade digs and plow through some hexes, it's a little tough to see how they get from where they currently are to that point.
Yeah. The one thing they could actually do that would be quite interesting is that if they have like what 6 workers or something. Yeah, so it might be a bit difficult for them, but they could just take on the second turn, the second round, just a priest, like the priest action, the worker action, and just upgrade their decks twice and just start their engine this way. Like digging
Yeah,
on H3 and then going out down to H2, just getting all this Western landmass hexes and just have a pretty good economy going on.
yeah,
So
that
it
is a good point.
would
We
actually
see
be interesting.
mermaids taking the coins. Darklings did get the workers. I would expect. Wow, I was about to say I would expect Canada to send a priest to the Earth track, which I'm assuming will happen, but they haven't used the spade yet, so I wonder what hex they're intending to dig.
Yeah, it is a bit of an interrogation mark here. Like
They
if
are
Lizzie
they
hears,
are they going to use that priest to send it to Earth, or are they going to double dig here?
yeah, no, they do send it to us. I'll be very shocked not like to see like darklings not sending this to Earth instead of just digging.
Well, the upshot is if they had chose to use it as digging, I mean it's a lot of extra points, and it gets them another dwelling down.
Yeah,
Whereas now they can't get a dwelling down. Like I love the Priest of Earth, but I don't know when it's a 4 point priest if they dig with it this round. That gets them another dwelling down.
yeah,
That's a little tough to pass on, but
yeah. Okay, and we see like the next the spectral being used to take the E7 yellow back to brown. So they're likely going to use it next turn to just secure just another
yeah,
cheap dwelling.
it it looks like you're correct that they're gonna just carve up through this center continent, and then their expansion will be decent in the later games. So I do really like this game plan of theirs to basically just plow north. I don't think dwarves can afford to double dig that blue. I think dwarves have to secure the red kind of in the bottom left next to their temple.
Yeah,
Because
those.
if halflings get to cut through there, I mean, halflings have to be hoping that dwarves let them take that red hex. Um, so
Yeah, Yes, we'll see how it unfolds. Darkling's taking worker power and have just a really good economy. I just really like Darkling's game for now.
They got
Very,
so much leech. I'm really warming up to the fact too. Like, Darklings could just have an abandoned sanctuary. It's just not going to be part of their network, and that's going to be fine for them. They're going to have so many other good things going for them with this much early leech,
yeah,
and continued leech. Because if Darklings just carve up through the center like I'm expecting, they're just going to have people building next to them all game. It's going to go very well.
yeah. Especially that we can see like with the Darklings have just a priest they can send to water should they have the ability to or the tempo to, and they just have enough resource to just build a sanctuary and another dwelling.
Mermaids did get on temp ship, which is such a dream for them to just be able
Yeah.
to reach these blues.
Mm-hmm.
Their opening has gone to plan. I assume mermaids are actually going to send the priest to water here too, and they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very good start for Team Brazil.
Yeah. That's one of the things I did not like. I was a bit unsure about Darkling's start on the round, Darkling's line on round one. It's just not sending another priest. Like they got two priests and they sent only one to cults instead of securing that fourth spot
I I think
on
that's
water.
totally fine. Again, this like Nerd Cube is an expert player, and he's been making this case recently too. Like leveraging cults is certainly nice, but Darklings do need to do a decent amount of digging here in order to expand, and it's a
Yeah.
4 point priest in round one. I like where Darklings look with these early digs and early dwellings down. I think it's very important for them still. Darklings are almost certainly going to go a sanctuary here and
Mm-hmm.
then dig and put out another dwelling. They have tons of workers. The really interesting thing is what favor tile Darklings take. I think
Yeah.
they do just take water one.
Yeah, they might. Because there's fairly little. Yeah, because if they take water one, they have even more flexibility to just either put another priest to water and just hit that full spot, or just dig to get to another dwelling down straight up. So do have a fair bit of flexibility. Plus, like there's already quite a good amount of coins on this setup, so they might not need fire one straight up.
So I don't think it would be wrong to take Fire One, but
Yeah,
I really do think Darklings have already got so much leech, and I think they're going to continue to get a lot of leech. Like
yeah,
if they go through with this plan of just kind of carving up the center, all game everybody's going to be building next to them, upgrading next to them. They're going to just have so much leech that they can, I think, afford to go double scoring favors.
mm-hmm.
Usually expert level players, if you see them take multiple favors in the early rounds, they rarely go Earth one and Water one because it
Yeah,
tends to leave your economy just a little too weak. It's tough to build enough stuff to really leverage those favors. But I think this is one of those games where I don't actually think that's going to be a big problem for Darklings. I think doubling down on scoring favors is probably fine. Now,
yeah.
if they go Fire One, it's not wrong. I'm blabbing on about this plan, but yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet to see what they've done. Yeah, and plus water one, like taking water one would be very nice to just remove themselves from possible water one rush later on in the game. So that's always pretty sweet to keep in mind. We see we've seen halflings like because we talked a whole bunch on darklings, but we
Yeah,
didn't like check out on the other faction. We saw halflings upgrading taking a priest and upgrading their ship to try and hit either like probably yeah they probably go on a bit of dwelling rush like going to two ship step
I
and going
I
e6 c4.
I agree. I think they're going another shipping, which I will say one of the few ways I've seen halflings have great success on this map is shipping. So I think FireX is doing a really smart thing for his team here,
Mm-hmm.
and if they advance ship again and wheel the single dig, they could have a lot of dwellings out, although they'd have very few coins. But they would really get their workers going. And they do go the double ship route. So
Oh
um, this is I didn't mention it. I probably should have, but yeah, like shipping halflings like is it can be tough to get all those priests to advance ship and later advance digs, but it does get you the worker economy rolling nicely.
yeah, plus they're getting a whole lot of leech from this western leech party. So they will be able to get some coins back after they just expand their workers. Plus, next round is a trading post round, so they will have some adjacency to just expand on their. Let's just build upgrade a fair bunch and just have a pretty balanced economy going on.
I was about to say, I guess we are kind of used to this idea that halflings should, rush out a bunch of workers, advance their digs. But there's no digging around here, and much like Bizzle's Fire 2 Open game, he played an unconventional halflings where, he didn't really upgrade digs early at all. He did just follow the track of the past tiles. He did build a lot of early trading posts. His worker economy was never crazy, and he had a pretty good game. So with the ship scoring tile available, halflings are already on the dwelling scoring. If they build a bunch of trading posts, maybe that is halfling's game plan, that they're just going to kind of really hit the points everywhere throughout. And that'd be a really fun game plan to watch.
Yeah, because plus they still have a whole lot of power they haven't used yet, so they just do everything they kind of want.
It looks like halflings will build another dwelling on that brown they can reach with 2-ship. And then I think they're going to just hard dig and build a dwelling on the black in the bottom right.
That's a very fair possibility.
I think hard digging is fine for them here, actually, with Earth 2 already. I originally thought they might spend 4 power for the single dig, but I think this is a point where I would just hard dig already, because I think they do need power for coins.
Yeah, totally. And then we see also
Unless they can pass for that 7 coin tile. I don't know who's going to pass for that, but I assume it's not going to be halflings. So,
halflings they can do a whole bunch of stuff anyway. There's if they can pass either for they will score a whole bunch this round, and then if they pass onto the ship pass, the VP pass tile, they will score 6 at least. They can pass on to the trading post pass tile. They'll score a fair bunch if they want to go trading post. They can just take the spade, get 3 easy coins, and then the spade. It's just they have plenty of flexibility on this line. So I'm very, very surprised. It's a good lesson from Team Asia here. Now we'll also see mermaids having a pretty good, a fairly good game as well. Just going for a temple and about 5 dwellings going on. They're still thinking out on whether they want to pass or whatever they want to do.
Yeah,
but I just like the game here.
I agree. Mermaids have an option to single dig and build 2 more dwellings. And it seems pretty good, although passing for 7 coins for mermaids or just passing for the ship scoring, mermaids have flexibility, and I agree. Their game is fairly on track still. Basically at the end of round 2 here, I think, as should be expected, we have a lot of strong players, and I think broadly we've seen a lot of strong moves. I don't think anybody's out of this game by any means yet. Mermaids pass for the spade.
I kind of like it. They could just keep up on securing their hexes, potentially G3, black G3 on the west part. They can just build a whole lot of a whole bunch of trading posts, and they can secure the coin actions. So they could be very much settled on their coin economy for the rest of the game this way.
Yeah. Darklings pass for more coins. I agree that their game's also looking pretty good. Honestly, Darkling's only real issue is the worker production. They really do need a lot of workers. They pretty much are going to build 2 dwellings next round, I would imagine, and then maybe make a trading post. But I don't even know, because they're just doing so well in coins. Darklings did go water 1, so I was correct. I think that's a good call for them. They just have, they have 15 coins, and they just don't really need fire 1. So.
Okay. Yeah, they don't really fire 1.
All right. I think we have another report here from the Ravens blunder. We've interviewed some Team Canada and got some general thoughts about where their game is, and hopefully also some information on that profile picture. I don't know how easy it is to see on the broadcast, but Team Canada has a pretty intriguing image here. So, Lizzie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I was just talking to Team Canada. And I do have a report on the profile picture, which is a kraken. Apparently, Team Canada discussed having a moose in their profile picture, but they decided to go with the kraken. Their player, Chris Ho, they said, I quote, "Chris Ho is the kraken." So they are releasing the kraken instead of releasing a moose.
All right, that is an interesting strategy, but it seems like the game's going fairly well for them. How is the mood in Team Canada?
Team Canada is feeling great right now. They said they're very comfortable with how they're doing. They said they've gotten, I quote, "a ton of leech. Economy's booming." They're very happy with their position right now. And I did ask them about the priest to earth. They said that one priest has gotten them a lot of resources so far. They said 3 power, 5 coins, and a shovel later on.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's a very valuable priest, and so I think it's totally reasonable for them. And their position does seem great, so definitely nice to get those insights. Any other thoughts from Team Canada?
That's all I have from Team Canada right now. But looking forward to talking to them again soon. And yeah, that's what I have for you right now.
Awesome, great work.
So coming back to this end of round, we see halflings indeed hard digging. Oh no, they went for a spade. The single spade power action, but just to dig C5 instead of I8.
Yeah,
and then building in on C7. Loving it.
I really like this too. Actually, this is why I wanted to see what FireX and Team Asia was going to do today, because this is a clever line to really spam out dwellings, and they get to pass onto the ship tile. So they just have so many points. Now they also have a lot of workers. They have no coins. That part is a bit of a concern, but
yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of points banked and a decent economy. It's exciting to see this kind of halfling strategy working.
Yeah, because on the way of coins, they can just build, let's say, a couple of trading posts should they really want. Should they really just that could actually give them an easier way onto coins. But one thing I really like about this C5 dig is that, and their whole strategy for round 2 is that they're just blocking darklings at every corner. Like they're denying their E6, the brown E6 to connect. They're denying their possible advance on C5 for the north. It also denies mermaids. It's just
I agree. I did not see this coming, and it's a huge swing in how I evaluate Darklings again, because suddenly Darklings got cut off of like the north and breaking through like I thought they were going to, and so Darklings long-term expansion again to me looks tricky. Like I see how Darklings could get to like 8 hexes total, maybe 9, 10, but I think Darklings were dreaming of trying to get to like a 14 network this game, and I don't see how that's going to happen. Darklings chooses to take more coins here, which is normally what I would always do as Darklings, but I just don't see how Darklings have enough worker production this game, really. Like, they just can't get to enough hexes to really like, just super, like, on some maps, Darklings here, I think, would have already basically won the game, because I think they would just have such easy expansion to enough hexes, but...
Yeah, they could possibly upgrade ship a bit to just go down to I8, but they don't have enough priest in their tanks to upgrade their shipping enough to go for all these fjords black route of taking all the black hexes once you hit 3 ship.
Yeah.
So like I10, I8, E10, A10, and this kind of thing. So they seem a bit weaker starting from this round.
Yeah, the halfling. I really thought Darklings were gonna be able to take that blue and then the brown that halflings are now on, and just carve through the whole center of that middle island. Uh,
Mhm.
and that looked really good to me, but they can't do that. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it really shifts my evaluation of them, and I think that's another really clever thing that the halflings have done here.
yeah, they have. So yeah, halflings are still thinking before lunch about what they're going to do because yeah, they're. I don't think they will have that much of a long turn. Possibly trying to just build a couple trading posts maximum. Set maybe send a priest to somewhere, maybe to fire because it's actually quite free. And just pass for like a trading post or a dwelling scoring and trying to see whether they can hit a town on next round. That's one of the issue I have with the whole halflings line is how are they gonna set their towns up for round four?
I, I mean, I don't think halflings are gonna get towns in round four, which is a bit of a bummer, but I also don't think it's that big of a problem for them when they're hitting all these other like point scoring opportunities so well. Like I do think they might just have a fast round, pass back onto the dwelling tile, and they're just scoring so well on the pass that I don't know if it's a big
Yeah.
deal that they're gonna miss round five.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like dwarves are gonna get double dig, which is
Yep.
good for them.
It is
I am
good.
curious if they're going to tunnel to that red hex next to halflings on the bottom to basically set up their connection path.
On my six side, they could actually. It's not like no one is actually fighting them too much for it. Halflings could because it's only two spades away for them. But yeah, now that Darklings took the blue on D4, like the only viable target for a oh
They are going
yeah
there for to secure connection. Yep, there it is.
yeah
I think this is I think this is really good play on this map. I think
mm-hmm.
lining up connection it makes Halflane's town much kind of trickier. It makes Halflane's long-term connection a bit messy because now Halflanes kind of need that blue, but mermaids would eventually like that. So
yeah
lots of fighting on this map still, and kind of right through all the central section that I talked about. We see that kind of area between the two islands is pretty much entirely gunked up. You know, it's just these factions are fighting for connection and expansion. And Leech continues to just flow very freely, which is part of why I love this map as well.
yeah.
Just all that Leech uh, is great. And yeah, halflings are having a fast round.
The first round passing for 6 easy points, and then just let's see what they ought to do here.
Super dwelling
Yeah,
scoring, yeah.
dwellings.
And then they
Yeah,
do get a coins action at the start of next round. I mean, I think that's quite good.
yeah, it is quite good. And then they have like they start with what 13, 13, 13 workers, couple priests, so they might just advance dig this round and just dig all those difficult hexes. Just possibly, I think they might just get a town actually on this round. I'm not sure if it's worth it, but it just might.
I agree. I don't totally know. Team Asia has some good resources and some really fun lines here, jumping between the dwelling scoring, ship scoring, dwelling scoring over round two, three, four, and just earning a lot of points that way. Um,
Yeah, yeah, they could just yeah take the coin action, just going up to let's say about 12 coins, something like that. Just upgrade their digging twice, going down to nine workers and 10 coins, and then you can just build a couple dwellings. Dig and build a couple dwellings on the south in I3 and I5, and build one trading post, and then you'll set.
it broadly
Also,
still seems like a pretty close game here. Like this is really really interesting. Like a lot of the factions are having difficulties, but a lot of them are still finding pretty good paths um, to having some ability to kind of contest this game. And
mhm,
yeah, I don't think anything's been decided yet at all. It does look like mermaids are going for the kind of culty mermaids that we thought they might be. I do
yeah,
think they might be getting the first town and getting two keys, and they have a couple priests on cults already. So I think I like mermaids the best here. I don't know what you're feeling.
I like mermaids, though they have one thing I have a bit of trouble with is that they're a bit stranded on the west. Let's say they have they're a bit less into the Lich party overall, methinks. And so they might have like yes, they can go for the like good upgrade on F3, G3, and G3 to get some good trading posts, but I'm not that it's obviously good. They have like plenty of like a really good economy, but I find them to be quite behind halflings there. They're like 24, about 24 points behind halflings, which is a very good scoring factions. Halflings are going to score a whole bunch.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think you make good points. I do think mermaids don't have that clear of expansion going forward. Like their mermaids hexes, they might get on, let's say, maybe 2 more natural blues this game, but that might be it. So that does mean their network is probably not going to be huge unless they find a way to invest into a lot of digs.
Digging mermaids, anyone?
Yeah, I think they got to just build trading posts here, so then their worker production probably isn't good enough to support digging. But
yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So mermaids sending another priest to Earth, probably to secure another spade round like on the cult bonus in round 5, on round 4, and just playing an overall culty game, I guess, because seems to be the way to go.
I think mermaids is basically accepting that dwarves is going to win air cult, and I think that probably is what they should do. But then I think mermaids maybe should dream of winning fire, water, and earth cult.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is very likely. Yeah, they can just fight a bunch for it. Not sure Darklings are in such a difficult spot for them in terms of expansion that they might just not have enough time to just send their priests to cults. So this is fairly easy to grab there.
Again, Darklings just don't have cheap hexes, so they need to use a lot of spades to dig in order to get workers and just build enough stuff. I almost wonder now if I was wrong about telling Darklings to take Water 1. Maybe they should have taken Earth 2, just so they had a few more workers and then could afford to just build a temple for Water 1.
Yeah. It is an entirely viable proposition here, because they could just take this temple on Water 1 on round 5, and just taking Earth 2 would have put them quite in a good spot for the round 4 cult bonus.
I think Darkling's issue here is somewhat workers. It's just hard for them to get enough dwellings out, and they kind of want to build up. The track is telling them build trading posts, make a town, build temples. All of that is like building up, putting workers into that stuff. But I think their path is still plenty fine. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that also, and then just looking at where their position has fallen to, it does kind of look like maybe Earth 2 would have been better, but. They did advance ship once, so I mean they're going to presumably build one more dwelling, and I'm guessing they're debating here if they want to actually use their power on a workers action.
Yeah, because they're still pretty good on coins, really. They just need workers. Yeah, because if they take this worker action, they can just build a dwelling and another trading post this round, so they're just gravy here.
Yeah, and I mean, it does look like Darklings are pretty clearly getting one town next round. I have to assume they're trying to build up this center thing into a town. So,
and I'm not sure we're town that.
I was gonna say, how many towns are we gonna see next round? What is your bet though? Like Darklings have one for like sure. I think mermaids are gonna just build a sanctuary to make a town.
Yeah,
but that might be it.
I think dwarves might have it in them to build another town, or like at least one town. Not 2, that's definitely unless they go for like Fire 2 or something, I don't think they'll be able to do any of these shenanigans. But I think dwarves can actually get a fairly good showing there. They'll get a free space, so they can spend it on D6, on this red on D6, build it. Possibly just
I forgot about the free spade. That's actually a big help. Okay. Very good call.
And now they can just Yeah, they can just build since they passed on to the trading post pass style, just build a bunch of trading posts and just be happy with it.
Uh, and Brazil is gonna get two dwellings, or two towns. Look at this. Duh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are way more towns than I just said. I feel slightly foolish, but that's what happens when you cast. You say things and then later realize that you were dumb. But that's part of the
Ah.
glory that we get to enjoy today.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, you're just saying mermaids going for another trading post. They can possibly pass onto a shipping VP pastel, which is do a whole bunch of good things. Really. Possibly getting in trade like a sanctuary round next round for either fire 2 if they want 2 towns, or possibly air 1 or whatever suits their fancy.
Yeah, I think it's probably just Sanctuary Fire 2 for mermaids, and then take 2 Key Town and
A
Cult
VP
Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just have like great cult domination, score a bunch next round. Like again, all these factions should be expected with like this strong of teams and players seem to be doing pretty good things.
Yeah, plus for now, I think like no one's economy is in that much of a slump. So yeah, they're like everyone just has the resources, to do plenty of things. It's like loads and loads of possibilities. I love this game.
Yeah. So the kind of central like tension points for me right now that I'm really paying attention to is I think dwarves kind of need to secure that gray hex down at the bottom. That's next to halflings. That's their connection hex, and I do think halflings are going to wind up advancing ship. But dwarves also want to, I think, build a town, and I'm trying to add up their workers. I don't know if they have enough to tunnel, build that dwelling, and make their town. So I think that's going to be a tricky point next round.
It is a tricky point, though. They could just, for example, let's say double dig I3 and then get to I4, because they do have a fair bunch of power and no one's really going to contest tile unless halflings pass up on the coins to take double spade. They have like action double dig all for them.
Yeah, okay.
And they could take these hexes.
Nice line. Good call.
But yeah, they have 9 power. They have everything they could want. So, as I said, plenty of resources for everyone. Just let's see how they want to use it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, they have just enough workers then to pull this off. They could double dig, build both those dwellings, build the other dwelling, build 2 trading posts, make a town. I love that. Okay, yeah, I think that's really smart. We'll see if they agree with your suggestion. But I think double digging that blue to just build on that and the gray looks really good for them.
Yeah, we see halflings taking on the coins.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was pretty obvious. They had to do that. They have so many resources. They can advance dig. I agree that I don't know if halflings are actually getting a town this round or not.
They could.
But I think it's fine if they don't. They advancing dig twice is 12 points. Every spade they use is a point. They're on the dwelling pass tile again. They're going to be at like 70 points by the end of this round, if not a bit more, and still have quite a good economy. Admittedly, they might not get Earth 1 or Water 1 this game, so maybe their long-term point opportunities is going to run dry. But they're still running quite fast with what they want to do. Like if they really want to have a town, they could just upgrade their digs. Get the blue that dwarves might not be interested in like that fast, like on the I5, and just build a sanctuary there. Because they might just need a sanctuary should they even want to get 2 towns, they just might need some the help of a fire 2 here. They will have some. They might just run into some troubles getting the second town for cheap. Yeah. Dwarves send a priest to Earth, which I do think makes enough sense. They really want to get that cult spade. It gets 2 coins. Again, they have no other use for their priests, so I think I'm not sure that was going to run out, but I guess it's conceivable that mermaids and halflings or mermaids and darklings both sucked up the remaining priest slots. So I did not see that pressure, but Europe did. So
Yeah, and like, should their plan be to take double dig? Like, no one's really fighting for it, so they have time to just set everything to Earth.
yeah, exactly. They're still getting double dig. I still think your suggestion has to be what they're angling for. I think that's such a nice round if they double dig, build those 2 dwellings in the bottom left area, and set up that town spot. And then, yeah, they complete one of their towns by building 2 trading posts.
Yeah. Then we see mermaids going for fire 2, as predicted.
And
There you go. Tsuki Town.
Yep.
Wait for it.
I think it has to be single key town after this too. It just looks so beautiful.
Yeah, it's just like, and should they be able to get like these, like an 8 VP town plus the last priest to Earth? They get 2 digs for this.
Yeah,
round.
that would be, if they get another priest to Earth, that's super strong for them too, if they wheel it. But I think they do. I think halflings want to upgrade dig, and I just don't think darklings can afford to fight cults here. I think they have to just keep. I think darklings' plan this round is probably trading post to complete a town and build 2 more dwellings in the south via digs.
Yeah. The one thing that they might not be like willing to get 2 spaces is that they're sitting on the ship pass tile, so they might just want to upgrade ship to just trying to secure those last few blue hexes.
They might even be discussing just taking a ship town actually too.
Because they're very pretty much uncontested on water and fire cults.
Yeah.
And an 8 VP town does not score them that much economy, just like 1 power, and that's it.
That's true.
And unless they actually get those last priests to Earth, which nets them 2 spade, like another spade and 2 more power, and 2 more coins on the following round, which is pretty good.
Yeah, we can see that they are really debating this too, and it's fair. This is actually a tough decision. They do go ship town. Give another on the ship pass tile. I do think that makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, it does. They might just advance another bit of ship and take I5 should they really want to. Because if we say that, if we state that dwarves will take I3 and I4 on the south, if mermaids upgrade ship quick enough to take I5, this conjuncted action just deprives halflings of a town this round.
Yeah,
that could be interesting.
That's true. Well, and if halflings get cut off too, the network fight continues to be like really fascinating.
Yeah. Well, if they, I would bet that should halflings be cornered this round, like they're just off the network game. Like they can maybe get 6 points off of darklings, like depending on how it goes, but then it just becomes a fight between mermaids and dwarves to see whether who gets the 18 points. That's it. But yeah, and should halflings be cornered this round? It's just it makes me love them a whole lot less for their whole viability on their points.
I think halflings have to be like rushing to advanced dig and trying to get on that hex. I mean, it might be that halflings advanced dig and then just dig that hex to black. Spending 2 workers to dig it 1 step just to discourage mermaids from building on it, because I do think it's pretty important to halflings' long-term game here to not get cut off from network. When you go Earth 2 halflings, like I think you have to be hoping to contest network.
Yeah.
All right, we have breaking news from our sideline reporter. So, Lizzie, what do you got?
Hi, I have breaking news from Team Canada. So a player from Team Canada, Zoris, we actually have a quote from him. He says, I quote, "He doesn't really like the halflings game, but all they've been doing is being a pain to us." End quote.
Which is entirely true.
So you can see that, Team Canada is just a little salty right now. All right, thanks, guys. That's the breaking news.
All right, thanks for that report. That is, it's really fun to get insight into how the players are feeling. I do stream Terra Mystica, as some people here probably know, and I certainly sometimes get salty on my streams too, of just sitting there like kind of half stewing over like, I think this guy's making bad moves, but all his bad moves are hurting me, and it gets really frustrating. So I know very well the feeling Zorus has.
Yeah. Plus, it's actually very interesting to see, like, it's Canada who gets salty. I want to see what salty Canada looks like.
That's true. I would like to hear more of it, but now I don't know if I totally agree with Zorus, because I still kind of like Halfling's game. I think they're doing interesting things.
Interesting things, yeah, but yeah, if they get cut off from network, they're just they don't have much into cults.
Darklings are getting a little spicy here. It looks like they're going to try to still make that sanctuary town.
Not sure they will be able to get that sanctuary town because they need another priest to.
Not this round, but just long term. I think it's fair. I don't think dwarves care about that red hex very much.
No.
I guess maybe dwarves do because it allows them to kind of tunnel a little more, but dwarves have so many tunnels available to them in the late game here still.
And like, if we want to make like Canada completely salty, we see dwarves taking like the single spade, taking that E5, foregoing every chance they have at a town, just to like hit on Darklings a bit. But very much not sure it's gonna happen. But it would be very interesting though.
Mermaids did advance ships, so I do think there's a lot of stress now on Team Halflings here on how to handle that, because I think Mermaids will build this blue hex. I think the answer is Halflings just single dig it though. I think if they just if they just spend 2 workers here to turn it black.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what they have to do.
Yeah, it is still a bit of a counterintuitive play. It's like on the whenever you plan is to upgrade digging twice, it's always difficult to steer off that plan and just stop halfway and say, okay, I'm going to secure that. It's like, it seems very like to me as well, but it does look like, there you go.
Wow, they actually single dig.
Yeah.
Actually, that might be the safest way to do it though, because now mermaids really have no options to mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's essentially like Halflings just spent 4 power for 2 workers, which they might be willing to do here.
Yeah. Plus, it blocks the possibility of, let's say, mermaids, since they have 4 power in their bell 3, they could have given their should they have been able to get 2 more points of leech because due to dwarves playing in between them. They could have just taken action 5 and built another dwelling with their leftover power.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I mean. I think I was actually pretty savvy by Halflings there to
definitely some nice play here. Loving it.
Do it that way. Dwarves do go for the line you were suggesting. They've set up some town locations. They're going to wind up building another dwelling this round and 2 trading posts, making a town. Gotta like it. I guess actually, or dwarves have an option. Do they have an option to
build 2 towns?
Yeah, I guess they can. I don't think they quite have enough resources. They'd have to take fire too.
Yeah, they build one more dwelling on D6. So they have 4 workers left. They can build a sanctuary for fire 2, possibly. Sanctuary for fire 2.
They're getting real coin short to achieve it. I don't think they can quite 2 town this round. Yeah, I think that is too dreamy, and that's fine because I think what they'll do is they'll go for the east town here. So this kind of upper right. I think they'll complete that one, and then they'll use their cult dig on this green hex kind of down in the bottom left and finish their other town later.
Yeah, they could very much do that because they can't there's no landscape, so they can't jump. They can't tunnel with their cult spade. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I just don't think dwarves have a huge incentive this game to build their big building. There's no way to score it on the pass tile. There's no way to score it on the track. They might want a stronghold just because they have so many jumps left to them, but it's also defensible to not, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm. We see mermaids passing for the town, for the coins.
Yeah, I mean, mermaids Mermaid's economy is still looking quite good, and they have
Yeah.
great cults.
And it's a
But
temple round, so they might just build some more temples to just get an even better advantage on their cults and just maybe winning 4 cults. Who knows? That's what I
yeah,
want to see them.
I think mermaids are in the lead, so I have to accept that back in the bidding, a lot of these really good players were right that mermaids probably did need to be bid. There was a nice path for them this game.
Yeah, because they were getting double dig, that's for
Yeah.
sure. And yeah, just mermaids have so much flexibility to do whatever they want. So it's just so nice to
Well,
see them.
and it was I think halflane's taking single dig is pretty defensible. I think their line is
Mhm.
interesting, but at the same time, halflane's not blocking mermaids on water or Earth One was definitely a slight surprise to me. It
Yeah.
was favorable for mermaids, I think. And then I will grant halflings have made darkling's life pretty tough, so that's further edge towards Team Mermaids haven't really been
Mhm.
disrupted by anyone.
Yeah. Though, yeah, mermaids do have a fairly strong cult showing, but like a strong cult presence. But though that network starts to be a bit more difficult
Yeah,
to
the
defend.
network fight, I still think dwarves are just going to win network, and I
Yeah.
think halflings are going to take second. But we'll see. I'll admit, like dwarves are quite a few points behind, right? Everybody else is already in
Mm-hmm.
the 60s, but dwarves still have a town. They're passing for a bunch. I think dwarves still have a lot of tunnels in the late game,
Mm-hmm.
and
They're pretty solid on their cults as well.
they have decent cult presence, and I think they're going to win network. So I think that's a lot. That's why I don't think the game's over by any means. I think a lot of these
Yeah.
factions still are doing good things.
Yeah, it just seems it's like dwarves can still do a whole bunch of stuff. Like if they build a couple trading posts this round, they still have like a 7 worker production, so they can just jump about fairly easily without worrying too much. But even though their call presence is not as good as one could have expected
Well,
from a
I,
cult town,
yeah, yeah.
they can
Well,
get some lazy call points.
I was about to say, I think dwarves might be the ones taking some of the single cult step towns
Yeah,
because they're still like the second places on fire and water are wide open, and that's still
yeah.
4 points. Like that's worth worrying
Mm-hmm.
about.
Plus, taking the ATP town would make them like on the second place, the easy second place on Earth, which is
Yeah,
always nice since Darklings actually took that last 2 spot on Earth.
yeah. I
They
don't
can
know how
see
I feel
things.
about that Darkleid's priest going to Earth. Like if they're gonna win Earth track, it's good. It's fine. I guess maybe they're building a temple for Earth 3 next round. That actually does seem pretty reasonable. Then
Yeah, but it's a couple coins next turn, so it's never too bad.
yeah, I just Darkleid's economy still seems great to me. Like they're producing so many coins off all these trading posts, and they still
Mm-hmm.
have 6 coins in the bank, and they might wind up passing for coins for all I know. I just don't know how much those cult coins are going to matter yet. But I mean, I agree, they're not negligible. It's just every priest is 2 points, and I still seems like Darkleid's need to dig a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they could set up a 3 town game with a third town on the southeast, but they would need like banking on dwarves tunneling to F9 to give them like some quick neighbors. Yeah, it does. They do require some 3 spades to get to E5. Then if they want to fight the network, I had their path to connection seems viable if they get up to 3 ship. But yeah, it does require like a whole lot of spades. Of priests, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Darkleid should worry about connection this game. They have Earth One, Water One. They could just try to make another town. I mean, I think they're really trying to like stall out for dwarves past tile, but I just don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna time out for them or not.
Uh,
I guess it should. Dwarves
maybe.
upgrade here. Darkling's single dig with their priest, and then dwarves probably pass.
Because on the plus side, like if dwarves upgrade on F8 to get a town, which they are likely going to do, unless they want to like jump on C9 or something with a bridge, they will give Darklings a bunch of power, so they could just burn down to like burn a bit of power and build another dwelling.
Yeah.
And just sell them their economy even more. And then get a stall out on 2 more actions. Like
dwarves do decide to go for a worker town. I think this also makes sense. I mean, dwarves still need a lot of workers to do all the tunnels that are left to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, not taking a cult town means that I still think there's a lot of cult VP just hanging around for some faction to take advantage of.
Yeah. Plus, it allows them to even build another trading post if they really want to. And they could leverage a good temple for AR1 next turn.
Yeah.
Leverage pretty well.
That's true. I think it's wrong for dwarves to build another trading post, but...
It depends if you're busy or not.
Yeah. Regardless, again, lots of really interesting things going still.
Yeah.
I do wonder how halflings are playing the rest of the round here. I feel like they might just be digging. I think it might be a bit of a blow to dwarves. I think halfling's next move might be to triple dig the gray up north between their 2 dwellings and set up for a town space there.
Yeah, they could.
Which, if that happens, I actually do think I'll revise myself to say that dwarves are kind of out of it.
Yeah, because they will miss out on they will have trouble getting those jump spots.
Yeah.
That I could should dwarves be cut off C6 with halflings. Dwarves can just try to pass before darklings and just get E5 before darklings. It just cuts off darklings, and then they have access to D1 and B4 and A5 all the good
Yeah, that's
plenty of
that's a good point.
Plenty of little spots. So that puts Team Canada on a fairly difficult position. Do they want to right now to pass now?
And they did just pass onto the ship score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to secure that E5, making sure everyone gets good. And yeah, now dwarves are in a bit of a tough spot as well.
Team Asia is going to go for the town instead, though.
Yeah. It's not too bad either. They secure water 1 for some more scoring because I guess they do need scoring.
Yeah, they probably do want water 1. It's just yeah, never mind. This is probably fine for them. It's really interesting, right? Like setting up the other town is also worth a good bit, but
I guess they can still dig on B5, A6, and get some the advantage of having neighbors should they let dwarves jump about.
Yeah, that's fair. Up over by mermaids, halflings can carve a town through there pretty willingly.
We'll see. So yeah, Sanctuary for one and a half links parts, fairly decent. Getting for another town this round, and then I don't know what kind of town would you look to forward to halflings getting.
I think they'd probably take a coin town.
Yeah, it does look like so. Yeah.
Wow, dwarves do go for the other trading post. Your call was right. Okay. The reason I don't super love that is simply because, well, it gets you 2 points on your pass town. It gets you a ton of coin economy. Dwarves already have a lot of coins coming from all those cult priests. And now their workers are still a little low, and they just have tons of tunnels to do. But I guess their network is already quite good. They probably, maybe I'm overestimating how many tunnels they really need to achieve.
And as you said, plenty of little cult points to be easy, lazy cult points to be getting.
Yeah.
From halflings getting an ATB town. Yeah, I like it for them because they could have taken a. Sorry, you go for it. Sorry.
Yeah. 8 VP town actually is very reasonable for halflings too. Halflings just don't need a ton of coins going forward. They've already paid for 2 shipping. They've already now paid for sanctuary. So I think halflings trying to pick up some of these cheap cult points is very reasonable.
Especially, they might just possibly just take an air one, so like one an easy like better time on the air track, one more power, just good stuff for them.
Yeah.
So Dwarves might just want to take the spade. Or maybe Walker Power if they feel like they're really short on income, but the spade seems pretty good if they want to dish out to just dig out some more.
I really don't know if they need to they have the thing is dwarves have only 3 dwellings currently available. Dwarves probably build another temple and another trading post at some point in this game, but that's still only 4 more hexes that they need. They're getting a spade here from the cults. And they have a couple easy tunnels. Like, I really don't think they need spades.
Yeah, just work your power and just at least build 2 dwellings, at least 1 tunnel to C6 now that it's available. And like the only thing I'm a bit sad for on Team Dwarfs is that they are fairly low on points.
Yeah, I keep looking at that too. I kept thinking that they were going to surge forward more than I guess I'm anticipating. But they did have Water 1 and they've built all their trading posts, which is fair. I think it was the right move, but they are going to pass for 8s. I mean, they're actually at like 54, but it might not be enough because I originally had them slated still for building all these dwellings with tunnels, and those are, especially in the last round, I mean, those are 8 victory point dwellings if you tunnel and build them, but I just don't know how many 8 victory point dwellings they're going to get away with, so.
Yeah, probably 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not, I don't think that's enough to catch up, is the problem. No. But I mean, we'll see. They have another town still. They're not going to get to pass for points here, but I think dwarves can probably afford to have a pretty quick next round and pass back on to some good victory point tile.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think it's pretty clear that halflings are going to pass on to the trading post tile, which means the dwelling tile will just be available for whoever passes first.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, the one thing I do have once we're talking about points is that Team Brazil, mermaids, they do have a pretty good economy. But I mean, now that all their scoring, all the scoring towns, they scored their 2 towns already, where do they score more points on the track? They have 1 temple, maybe a couple dwellings?
Yeah, I do agree that, I mean, they still have Earth 1 and a bunch of dwellings to build, and they probably go Temple Air 1. And they still have some network and so I think it's probably fine for mermaids, but I do agree that mermaids' point opportunities here are a little low.
Yeah, they're getting good calls, that's for sure. But it's tough to.
And Team Asia's game, I get that Zorus is salty about it, but they're at 83. They're passing on to the trading. They just are hitting the pass tiles so well.
Yeah, they're just. That's the beauty of getting a fully upgraded digging game. Is you can just stall out everything. It's especially if you're the only one who does that at the table. If your goal is to hit the pass tile, you just get them, son.
Yeah, look, I still just love this game right now because I love this map. I love all these these fights for space. Are just I love all the connection, and everybody's still fighting for space here. The 2 big islands are pretty much entirely filled up, which is pretty typical for fjords actually. And then I say, right at the end of the game, we see everybody kind of expand to the outside of the map. And I don't know, I just love the dynamics on this map and watching some really strong players duke it out here. And I don't know who's won yet. I think this is a game that we're not really going to know who's going to win unless we do the forbidden math, and Bizzle might just cut our mics at that point. So.
but yeah, because our estimations of which faction was the favorite just shifted a whole lot during this game.
I agree. During the bidding, I was like, dwarves are the best. And now I'm like, I don't know if they have enough points. And then we're like, mermaids are doing pretty well, but they're running out of points. Halflings have a ton of points, but not, this. And Darklings still are trying to chug along. And I don't know.
it's like showing like you can just go for a good line as well. It's just like the space for play here, like good. Like, I don't know how to express that in if I can make myself clear on this one. Just like
That's fine. Just saying, yeah, we get it. Like I know what you're after. It's beautiful. I'm really curious still. I think the most interesting round here is Darklings. Are they going to advance ship more? What is Darklings' like game plan? Are they aiming for 2 more towns? Are they trying to make the Sanctuary Town and a town in the bottom right? What temples, if any, do they build this round? Like, it kind of looks like they might take Earth 3 to lock it out, but if they're trying to build 2 more towns, they might want Fire 2, and Air 1 is always good in their spot too, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so securing E5 for that easy town. Just making sure you don't get blocked off.
Yeah. I don't think dwarves really had a huge interest in messing with that, but they certainly could have. So I think it makes a ton of sense to lock it up.
Yeah. Are we going to see dwarves taking actually like single speed action to get out C6? That would be my guess, because it's just way too good to pass up on.
It's reasonable, although you have to wonder how much halflings are going to continue to just make like your life miserable.
Yeah, because they can just dig
like
A7 if they want to.
Now they could just spend another worker to turn that gray. Like they could just keep turning hexes away on you. But
yeah, but at least like their eastern their eastern hexes like C9 and F9 are not even safe from halflings. Like halflings seem just pester them off and say, hey, I'm gonna dig your grays.
To be fair, I don't think dwarves are doing well enough that halflings should be super focused on that. Halflings get the coins in 4th seat. This is like in higher level Terra Mystica, you tend to see people take coins instantly, but all the rest of these guys have built so many trading posts and have so many coins coming from the cults here, they just didn't need them. But what a steal for halflings there. They are the one faction that needed the coins still.
They were otherwise they were at 4 coins on this round. It's just like, oh boy, because Darklings had to secure their hex. Mermaids had to use
Darklings still
their
have
space.
11. Darklings still have 11 coins and 5 power. I mean, look at the coins for everybody else. Like they have tons of trading posts up. They just don't need the coins that bad. But wow, what a wild outcome.
Yeah, Mermaids just needed the double dig just to secure more town space, and Dwarves just had to secure C6. So like. Really good setup for halflings.
I don't know if I'm talking up their game a little too much, but I really have been enjoying watch what Team Asia led by FireX to this week has been up to. Like I think halflings on this map are tough, and I thought he might have taken them too early in the bidding, and yet he's really led just a very interesting halflings game.
Yeah. Because now halflings can even just get it like that. They have a good northeastern stretch on C7, C8, B6, A12 to get another fairly easy town. Going up, they can fight on that pretty well. It's just they have all the resources they want in there. So
they're gonna build 2 more trading posts and pass. Team Asia is gonna be at 100 points already at the end of this round. They build a couple dwellings in the final. I mean, they should end this game at a good halflings game of probably 120, and then if they're second on network and have a couple cults, I mean, that's a 140s. 140s is usually competitive for the win.
Yeah, not quite sure about the cult position of halflings though. That's something that actually.
I agree. It's really hard to tell exactly how many cult points anybody's getting here, because there's still quite a few openings for stuff.
Yeah, and the one thing I like about halflings game is that they're sitting they're sitting on the pass repeat tile, and then they can tempo out anyone to just get that sheep tile off of Darklings if they want to, or dwelling time. They they're in a rush. They can adapt and just get scored more points.
I agree. I think halflings are going to wind up on the ship tile as well, which I didn't even give them points for here. And God, what a glorious game if that happens, right? Like that means halflings passed on to after round one, they passed on to dwelling scoring, then ship scoring, then dwelling scoring, then now trading post scoring, and then possibly back onto ship scoring. Like 5 rounds of pass tiles is
Mhm.
like such a cool just like game. I mean, it's a little bit things break well for you too, but
Yeah, it's
we
just
did see Darklings and Mermaids both take Air 1, so I'm wondering if
mhm.
Dwarves here are debating if they want Air 1. I suspect the answer is
And they
they do.
do. And they're
Yeah.
making Darklings pay pretty penny for it. Or not?
Oh, for the Leech, yeah. I don't.
Yeah, for the list. No, it's all yeah 5 to 0. Yeah,
Yeah, they were
yeah,
caps, but
just making sure they wouldn't give they would give Lich to only one player instead of two.
yeah. But yeah, all the Air 1s are out. I don't think halflings actually care too much about that. I don't even know if halflings
Uh,
really want to build a temple, given they have the trading post pass tile. It kind of feels like halflings should just build trading post this round and probably not build a temple.
yeah, yes, and because they're like if they wanted Air 1, let's say, it would have scored them what about six, like 5 to 6 points maximum.
Maybe more than that. It's possible they could have, I guess, built Air 1 and built a bunch of trading posts this round, but then I don't think they're setting up for a town. So I
Yeah,
don't think it's a big deal for halflings to not get Air 1.
yeah, it's pretty good.
I think the really interesting thing actually is like where halflings do want to build trading posts and where they think they might get another town. The easiest town seems to be the upper right, but that involves a bridge,
Which
and
their
if they
power
don't get it,
situation,
if they don't get enough leech for the bridge this round, they're going to be passing last and then probably get bridge blocked. The
yeah,
other option is to build kind of upper left up by mermaids. That takes a couple more digs.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it does take a couple like 4 digs instead of two. I think they can still do a fair bunch of good things there, but it's might be something they won't take care of
Oh, and
later
they are
on.
going to just go temple, so shows what I know.
What thing? A fire two?
Oh, they're going
Yeah,
to take the Earth
Earth
3.
three. There you go. Get them called, son.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably like a 6 point move loosely.
Yeah, plus full power coming back up. If they want, like, that's the thing. If they want their bridge, that might be the way to get it.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point too. It does give them the option to lock in the bridge now. The downside is they're not scoring as much on the pass tiles I thought they were going to, because they
Yeah.
can't. They're not going to end max trading posts, but maybe it's okay.
No, actually, they can still like they can build at C8 and still build two. Oh no, they'll be
They'll
lacking in
get to
points.
they'll end at 3 trading posts probably, but yeah, the coins are a little uncertain even then. So
Yeah, they're not getting any coins. Well, they could
oh,
send
and
a priest to cults here.
mermaids are locking up the dwelling tile. I think that's really
Yeah.
nice, but I think that's a pretty big blow for dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think dwarves really needed a pass tile, and I don't think they're gonna get one.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. Yeah, they could block. Like Darklings could pass first before dwarves, and then like if they wanted to be a bit pestering, dwarves could just pass for the
Ship
ship
score.
tile,
Yeah.
because otherwise they're getting what a spade or 3 or 6 coins. That's like it's not bad really, but just 3 power and denying half lengths between 6 and 9 points seems pretty good as well.
Yeah. Darklings takes another worker action. I think it's totally reasonable, but I do think that might be Darkling's third worker action of the game. That's not the ideal Darkling's life usually,
Yeah.
but it's all right. But I do think that just again speaks to I think it's been really tough for Darklings to get their worker economy really rolling like they would like to this game.
Mhm. Yeah, especially now that they can just still build another town. Darklings, they can just, for example, get a priest or anything like that, just that will help them stall out at least doors. Just because Darklings are passing for fairly good stuff as well. Just maybe 6 coins, maybe a priest, a spade that they might need as well, and 3 coins. It's like they're not passing for points, but they're passing for very good stuff.
Wow, dwarves go for another temple. I would not have predicted that either.
Oh boy. Is this water too?
Water 2 is probably the most sensible thing.
Okay. Wait, what?
Or just water 1. I mean, there was one copy of water 1
left.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that's something I did not see.
I mean, do dwarves have enough to actually make use of that?
I'm not sure.
Their workers just look like crazy to me. They have 2 dwellings, I guess they want to build.
Yeah, and
they do have one more town, and they could just convert priest to worker. Oh, they can't even build a dwelling.
They don't have no, they don't.
Yeah. Maybe they can.
They might. Maybe they can.
Halfling. It does look like I think your call was really good there, Bowser. I think halflings partly took Earth 3 in order to get the power to guarantee bridge this round, which is really clever. It's really a cool move.
It's what do you need in your game, and how do you get it? Look at all the possibilities in the board and just how do you get it? Oh, okay. Earth 3 for 4 power, better calls, 4 points. Let's go.
Darklings are also going for another temple.
And do dwarves want it? No, they don't take the 5 for 4.
They do take fire 2, so they are trying for 2 more towns. I thought that was pretty likely.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these cult coins are going to matter now. With all these factions choosing to build so many temples, there are suddenly a lot less trading posts on the board. So coins have become a lot tighter for everybody again all of a sudden.
Yeah. A lot tighter now. Wait until next round when the mermaids get up 12 coins and 13.
I was about to say, there are a lot of cult coins coming from the temple event here, right? I mean, every priest on the cult track's turning into 2 coins. So admittedly, dwarves still have a ton of coins coming in. Mermaids have a good amount. Halflings are the ones that, have not been able to send any priests to cults, which is a little bummer. But I guess halflings probably could send at least a priest this round. And there's still some interesting. There's again the battles for second and third in a lot of these cults are interesting.
Yeah, because dwarves will get an income, 3 priest income for next turn, so they can fight. They can fight for cults quite heavily on the last round.
Yeah.
While halflings will have about 3 priests, maybe a 4th if they take a priest town or a priest action, and they can they can fight pretty well and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that halflings, I think they are going to have a pretty long round here. Yeah, they're going to send. I was going to say they're going to send a priest to fire a water. They're going to build a dwelling. They'll build 2 trading posts. They'll take the bridge.
I'm not sure they can build. They might. They do have just enough to get 2 trading posts.
They might have to worker to coin, do 1 worker to 1 coin in order to pull that all off. And burn 1, which is a little painful, but I think that's still a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good position for them, especially if they do get that ship tile.
Yeah, definitely.
Which at this point, I think it does mostly come down to is Team Europe going to block it. But Darklings might not even pass here. I'm not sure. Darklings might build a trading post.
Yeah, they could.
And get a town.
Yeah, it all depends on what they want. But if they really I know the mermaids will not get action for next turn, the 7 coin actions. They won't have the power for that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so whoever passes potentially. Wow, yeah, we might have another. Yeah, we might have another round where nobody's really gonna get the coins action right away because they aren't gonna have the power. Wow.
So yeah, take a boost.
Yeah,
Bumping them at 92, which is always sweet.
Darklings. Yeah, I was gonna say Darklings are still doing Darklings things where they just uncontrollably, make points. They have 4 priest production heading into next round as well with all their temples. They still have Earth 1, Water 1, Air 1. Uh, they still have another town. They have a bunch of dwellings. Like, I mean, are Darklings winning this? I don't know. I think they're just a little behind because I don't think they're gonna have network points or much for cults. But
Mm-hmm.
they still are going to get to like what, at least 130 just directly before we get to post game scoring. So,
Yeah, they might just
ooh,
score a
and
whole
dwarves
bunch.
are forced to pass. This is huge for Team
Yeah,
Asia. They are going to get back onto the ship scoring. There's just
yeah,
no
they
way
have
Team
no action
Canada can
left.
outstall them. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
and yep.
pretty stoked about this Halflings game there.
I love this Halflings game. Even if it doesn't win, I do think the Halflings game is perhaps the most like kind of clever, interesting one of all these games. Not and
Mm-hmm.
to be fair, like you don't always have opportunities to play clever or interesting games. I like Darklings are kind of due to what Darklings do, and I think Team Canada's played them very well, and et cetera, et cetera. But
And
it's been very cool to watch like a pretty good Halflings game on this map.
yeah, and we see Darklings pass for temp ship instead of coins. Let's say that's
Wow, yeah,
interesting.
that is actually super interesting. I
Yeah,
guess, is that enough power for them to get the coin's power action?
it's not because they get only five. They
Oh
get 5 power
yeah.
income. But I think
What's
like that's the thing about upgrading shipping. That if Darklings want to try and fight for network by cycling around the map on the black hexes, um, Halflings just can put a wrench into that easily. So that taking
Oh
temp ship might be more of a tempo play to try and
yeah.
secure.
I don't understand what it's for.
It's yeah, that's the one thing that puzzles me a little bit. It's yeah, quite interesting to. I'll talk to Team Canada on a bit afterwards
I
about that.
I guess they just don't really need more coins because they're just building a bunch of dwellings next round, and they
Mm-hmm.
already have enough coins for that. But
Yeah, and they might like halflings will probably upgrade for another trading post. It will give them a slightly more power, like 2 in bell 3, 3 in bell 2, and they might just get just need a bit more, a little more, like a little nudge more to get that action 4. 7 coins action next round. So
although
that
actually,
may be the reason.
halflings are going to have enough power for it. Dwarves already have enough power for it, but dwarves also really don't need that coins action
No, I don't.
because dwarves are going to have like 14 coins or 16 coins. I mean, they're not going to take it. I think halflings are going to get the coins and force seed again next round. Like, oh,
Force.
this is going to be
Oh yeah, because they're
nuts.
passing on to the shipping tile. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
they're going to have 8 power income. Like
high power income. Ah,
yeah,
that's just so good. That's just so good. I love this.
yeah. I mean, it's fun. They're going to be at 100 points. They have another town. They have a couple dwellings, and they have ship scoring. It looks pretty good for halflings. Their network's pretty good too.
All right, back into the last
I guess
round.
I don't even know if halflings really need the coins either. I guess,
Uh,
but
yeah, they can use it. They can use it
yeah.
because they still need to build like either an expensive trading post or like they don't have fire too. So to making a town
Well,
low.
they just double dig the blue hex, right?
Oh yeah, they
Like
could.
that's
Yeah, they
that's.
could.
I assume they're just gonna make a or five or like a 5 hex town is what I was assuming. But you're right. They could also just expensive trading post instead.
Yeah. But yeah, like if they really want to hit everything, like to hit their dwellings, they would need another third point of shipping, and to that they will probably need the coins.
They do, yeah, they do
CPI.
need to ship again, and they really, I mean, to be fair, halflings really do want to build trading post for dwellings this round, so they end with only 3 structures on their board
Yeah.
for network considerations.
And will cost them about 13 coins if they want a bit to get a bit of shipping as
Yeah,
well.
so they do actually need the coin. They would like the coins action, and then they might even have to take a worker town. I don't know. Although dwarves might be taking a worker town, I do not know. At this point, I do think dwarves are probably too far behind. Not getting a pass tile
Yeah.
looks pretty brutal, and
Mhm.
yes, they have a couple tunnels left. Again, those are 8-point dwellings, which are sweet, but they're only going to do 2 or 3 of those probably, and then another town,
Yeah.
and then some
Maybe.
cults and pretty good network, but
Yeah, seems to be that's it.
between mermaids, darklings, and halflings, I actually don't have a for sure winner of this game yet at all.
Uh, yeah, it's a bit tricky here. I still have my money, a bit of money on halflings there, but
I do too, and it's partly I just want them to win because I just like the idea of halflings winning the first tournament fjords game. Like, oh, just so cool.
yeah, just styling on everyone, showing who's boss.
Yeah.
Okay, and looks like from the Ravens blunder, we do have a bit of an insight from our reporter on Team Asia.
Yes, hi. So I was just talking to Team Asia, and so I have a report from them. They are very confident in how the game is going for them. They're really happy with it. They think the pass styles have been very favorable to them, which I think you guys were actually talking about earlier too. They said that there was, and I quote, a lot of cheering and whooping going on in their team chat for some of these favorable pass styles. They also said that they are happy to live up to the expectations of Team Canada by being a huge pain. They they were happy to take Earth 3 and move right up the Earth cult to contest it from Team Canada. And they're just happy to keep being a thorn in their side and hopefully win the game.
Yeah, they've done some really good stuff. The pastels certainly have broken favorably for them. Getting on scoring pastels 5 turns in a row is awesome, but they've played really well. So I'm glad to hear they're also just having fun with the game. It sounds like that's when everything is best. So.
Oh, absolutely. And that's my whole report for Team Asia. But hopefully I'll be back soon.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I have to imagine Team Asia is pretty happy. I mean, this game, again, they've played very well, but a couple things continue to just break silly well. Again, they just got the coins from 4th seat again.
Yeah,
so rounds 5 and 6, they got coins in 4th seat. Normally, people, like, typically in Terra Mystica at high levels, you see people, like, worried about passing first so they can take the coins.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, halflings are just getting it all. They get to pass whatever they want for the pass tile they want and are getting the power actions they want. Like, it's hard not to just kind of be happy and chuckling and whooping in your team chat.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a dream, really. So we see Team Canada just thinking a bit on what they should do on their how they should proceed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's somewhat clear. I thought. I think we're going to see a trading post, obviously, from Canada next to dwarves, and then we'll see a dwelling and probably just another dwelling. That means Canada gets another town. I still don't really get the temp ship from Canada. I don't know what it was for.
Well, I guess if they would really want to, because they dug on G9 to get some neighbors from F9, they can just get E10.
It might just be because they needed more hexes. I see what you're saying. Just building this free black, even if they're not really going to contest network, just building free hexes is actually pretty useful to them because they want to build dwellings just because they're good victory points with Earth 1.
Yeah. And it was like just a 3 point difference, 3 coins difference between the temp ship and the 6-1 pastel. So yeah, pretty clever play there.
For sure. Yep, I like that. And they are just going to take another priest here, which I think makes sense. Like, turning their power into points seems good. I think they are just going to build a ton of dwellings. I don't even think they're actually. Now that I say that, I don't think they are building another trading post this round. That's really fun. I think they're going to make a 6 dwelling town. I'm going to give them huge style points if they make a 6 dwelling town.
Yeah, they might. They might just get those foldings on the two.
The 2 yellows, yeah.
The 2 yellows or yellow and green, and then you're settled.
Yeah. Oh, it better be the green. That's a much. I think like a candy cane 6 dwelling town. If they let me down, I will not forgive Team Canada for this.
Yeah, the one thing. So we see halflings going for their town, blah blah blah. But the one thing I'm actually interested in, it's like puzzling me a bit, is mermaids that we haven't talked about.
Yeah. Well, I'll admit I've slightly been shying away from it because I agree. I don't know what mermaids are going for. Like, it kind of looks like they were trying to carve out another town, but they have no neighbors. But they have enough coins, I guess they can just pay for expensive trading posts. But
yeah, they could dig the green on north of halflings on B4 to get a neighbors on a trading post.
Yeah,
it would be like 1 trading post in Fort Wellington. Pretty easy stuff. Cost only 1 spade.
That's a good point. And then the other thing I haven't been sure about mermaids that I've been trying to like pay attention to is like I think mermaids still have to have some network aspirations, but the problem for them is kind of what we looped to way earlier. They just were running out of natural blues. They just don't have enough hexes this game. And I don't think they can generate enough spades to contest dwarves or halflings here. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, they can end up at about 13 structures, let's say maximum. Like, should they be able to get 2 more hexes, like 2 more spades, like 1 spade on B4 and 1 spade on, let's say, H1, I1, or like a 1 spade hex? They'll end up at about 13 structures.
That would be huge, though, actually. If mermaids can get out... If mermaids could actually build both their trading posts and 4 dwellings this round, and then wind up with only they could potentially get down to only 3 structures. Oh, but I see that needs 3 spades. What you're saying?
You would need another spade.
Yeah, that is tough. Very tough to see how they make that happen.
Yeah, it's just 1 hex away from glory there.
It could be. It could be 1 hex is going to really cost them a lot. Which, I mean, so as much as Team Canada wants to complain about halflings being a pain to them, halflings taking this blue away from mermaids that also secure their own connection was painful that could be really painful for Team Brazil to have lost that as well.
Yeah, it probably was like a big turning point on the game, the make or break halflings moment, really, between halflings and mermaids.
Yeah, I think that has to be the tensest moment for halflings. Like, a lot of the rest of the game has been flowing pretty well for them. It's partly because, again, they've been playing some really clever, good lines. I don't know, like, finding that 2 ship and, like, going Earth 2 and eschewing Earth 1, like, some bold calls, but finding a really cool path.
Yeah.
We do see Team Europe catching up a little on the points and taking more workers.
More workers, as you said, another working town. Wars, and then they can just jump about. Possibly, like, let's say, because they still have a spade.
Yeah, the problem is they want to build 2 trading posts and 2 dwellings.
Oh boy, they don't have much more dwellings.
And they want a tunnel.
And they want a tunnel as well.
I guess they just have to skip tunneling. They just really don't have enough to justify tunneling much.
Yeah, because they have, like, even if they do take the worker power action, they have 7 workers. Like, to build 2 trading posts, 2 dwellings, they'd need 6 workers, 10 gold. So they would need, like, if they want to tunnel at least once, they would need 8 workers, which is possible if they convert a priest.
Yeah, but converting a priest is also a bit painful when, again, there's some nice cult points. Like, priests still are like 2 points each, roughly. But
it's still possible, and then they can forego 1 tunnel and just build a single dwelling, maybe on G10 or.
Actually, speaking of cult points, it does look like halflings are going to just get the other 8-point town, and I think that's going to be pretty huge for halflings as well. Taking a single cult step on all the cults looks really quite good for halflings here.
Yeah, just because darklings are not going to get are very likely to use their priest to advance in cults. Anyway, so taking the 8 VP, getting 2 more power for value, because why not? Like,
Darklings might yet have enough reason to send Priest to water, depending on what everybody does the rest of this round. But
yeah.
actually, at the same time, we already talked. Never mind. No, that's I take that all back. Darklings are delivering me my 6 dwelling candy cane town, and they don't have any extra priests.
Aesthetics. That's how you play Terra Mystica here.
Yeah, look, aesthetics is the next level, and admittedly, Team Asia, as much as I have loved their game, the aesthetics of where they've built is ugly as. Yeah, I can't give them any aesthetic points, but Darklings could at least win the aesthetics game.
Yeah, they could very much do that. Though it might just they have the resources to, just build one trading post, one more dwelling, possibly.
Yeah, they
then
they could.
Yeah, they could just do that. And then since they have another, they're up to 2 ship, they can just build another.
No, you're right. They're gonna build trading post dwelling still this round, so they don't really need to do the 6 dwelling town. They can leverage their temp ship if they want to.
So we'll see. So Team Europe still thinking about what they want to do. I'd say they would want to take just a worker power action. It's just sacred to them.
It seems likely.
Though there's fairly little competition for it, so they just might want to send at least a priest to one cult.
They do just take the workers there. Yep, good call. Yeah, I mean, I think broadly, Brazil has to be angling to finish another town. Yep. Darklings are going to finish their town, build a couple dwellings. Halflings have a town to make. Halflings did advance ship to 3. I think they're trying to take this free brown hex. So, Darklings maybe was supposed, if they really wanted to get back at Team Asia, I think taking the free brown hex was probably the move, but...
Yeah, because the other thing that I really like about Halflings game is that they have exactly the good amount of resource. They're missing out on one dwelling, but only one worker to dig. But if they forgone any aspiration for another town, they could have just built one trading post, 3 dwellings with the exact amount of resource.
Yeah, that's true. Their resources are working out really nicely. I would expect them to build this free brown that's cradled by dwarves buildings out in the east. I think free hexes are important for halflings. I guess there is the free hex next to mermaids, but why give mermaids a neighbor?
Yeah, you don't want to give mermaids a neighbor when you could just propose some tasty 7 for 6 on dwarves.
Although talking about those exact resources, now that I am thinking about more dwarves are just going to be jerks and refuse to build that gray hex next to halflings. So halflings do have to pay for an expensive trading post for the town.
Well, as you said, they can double dig the blue hex on the 11 and just build it.
They can, but then you're correct. That does mean that their network aspirations are harder. I do think halflings' goal this round was to build trading post 3 dwellings and with only 3 structures, but they might not be able to achieve that, and so that's going to lower some of their network points, which is going to cause them small issues. They're still in a really good spot, but yeah, it's not... I don't know if it's for sure won yet. Darklings just have, as always, a stupid amount of points.
Yep, they still have one town to come. One town to go. 2 priests. They are fine.
I mean, they still have another Earth 1 dwelling, which is 4 more points. They passed for 3 with Air 1. They still have 2 priests for digging. They still have another town. And halflings are just taking a town, and I think that's important. I think the 8-point town is very important for halflings versus darklings.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because now they're about 3.3, 3 coins away from getting all these dwellings dished out. So they might just want to wait out on getting some more power. So how much power would they need? They would need something like 3 to 4 power.
They need 4 power. It looks, only 3 power because they don't have to. The the priest can turn into a coin actually, so maybe they only need 2 power.
Full power. Full power. They need 3/6 and possibly a priest to dig.
Well, but
because they only have 2 hexes.
Oh, they don't. Yeah, they need the priest to dig. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they don't have enough hexes. Okay.
So yeah, they would need full power.
Yeah, it seems unlikely.
Yeah, like this is a high level, like high level game. People are wary about really giving like leech to people.
Yeah.
At this level, so it usually makes a bit of a difference. Like
so, dwarves are just gonna outright win network then. So it does come down to mermaids versus halflings. Mermaids, I think, really want to get the power as well, so they could double dig, because they just need hexes.
Yeah.
And I think mermaids might be able to tie halflings for network then, which, again, that's going to be important for both of them. I mean, I guess halflings, even if they get 9 network points here, they're still in a pretty good spot. They're going to end the game at like 129, and then if they even 9 points in network is 138 plus some cults, and it's too much math, but I mean, halflings are well into the 140s, possibly the 150s. So I think they're still winning the game, but Team Canada is catching up.
Yeah.
I do think I've accepted that mermaids just don't have enough points. They have great cults, and they have okayish network, and they have another town, and they do have pass points, but I think it's still just like 130s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think dwarves, yes, are also like 130s, but so
probably not enough to catch up on them.
Yeah, I think both darklings and halflings are clearly into 140s, if not even 150. And so it's a fun fight for first, though.
Yeah, it is quite a fun fight, especially like. Oh yeah, now we see the candy cane. We see the candy cane tail.
Oh yes, there we go. All right, Team Canada. Again, if you don't actually win the game, you've at least delivered me this. Oh, glorious.
And yeah, as you said, they're breaking 130 pretty easily there.
Oh, I mean, they still should build that one dwelling, although halflings could mess with it now. But they don't, which makes sense. Halflings can't really justify messing with it, but darklings get one more dwelling. Yeah, that's 140. They have air 1. They're at 143, and then they have a couple of cult points.
Yeah, their in-game points seems to have like 4 in-game points or something.
It's pretty dang good. So I will grant Team Canada's played, really nice game. They accepted that Sanctuary could have got like trapped, and then when they noticed that there was finally like a good time, they decided, we can still make our Sanctuary town. Halflings blocked them off probably from what they really wanted to do, and they've just continued to find nice paths, make nice moves.
Yeah, nice. Though I'm not sure Canada will have enough endgame points to beat halflings. I might actually.
It's tough. Halflings. It's very. I'm trying to use all my restraint here to not just calc the exact numbers. I'm pretty fast at it, and I do it in my own personal games. But admittedly, I will try to just be with everyone here and watch the slow countdown and not figure it out. But I could figure it out, and I want to. Wow, wait, darklings don't build the dwelling.
No, they don't have one.
They don't have a dwelling left. Duh.
They don't have a dwelling left. So they get like 1 point of resource, 3 points of 1 point of resource, 140.
Oh, duh. Okay. Yeah. Without doing the exact calcs, I think halflings will beat them then. I was giving darklings one more dwelling build, which was going to help them a little bit there, but
I will dabble into the dark arts of the math, just because I don't like the suspense, but I won't say.
Honestly, the suspense is a little over for me now, especially with darklings passing. It confirms that darklings are not going to pass halflings on any cults. So darklings clearly have only 6 cult points, and that's all their post game. And I think halflings are just far enough beyond.
Yeah, definitely, because halflings are getting about 20 points of cults. About 18.
The problem is halflings have some network, and they have great cults, and they pass for 9 still. So halflings are getting blocked from the last dwelling, though. But
Yeah, from the last dwelling, but they can dish out like their. Yeah, it's fine for them though.
It is. They could just use the priest to dig, it looks like. I mean, with
Yeah,
Darkling's Pass, there's
that's
no real point in setting it to any cults.
yeah. Earth 1 is Earth 3 is taken, so they don't like no need to worry about. Let's say mermaids trying to be a
Yeah.
hero on Earth cults.
Yeah, you can just tell what resources are left, and it's just, yeah, I don't think there's any concern. Mermaids are also delivering me a 6th dwelling town, so I should give them
Yep.
some credit too.
Yep.
I had
And
talked
they're
about how they might need expensive trading posts, and that was also a lie.
actually like mermaids do have quite a good amount of endgame points though. They're
Yeah,
passing for
maybe,
about 11.
maybe I wrote them off too. If they're gonna tie network with halflings, yeah, that's true. Mermaids are passing for 11. They still have another town. They have great cults, and they
They
tie
have
for network.
they have a bit about 20 points of cults, a good network presence.
All
This
right.
game is just really close. I love it.
All right, yeah, it's gonna. You're right. We're gonna have a fun like. It's the only thing I feel fairly sure of is that Team Europe is out of it, but
Eh,
I don't know. Yeah, it should be like it's going to be very fun here. Um, I
yeah,
I
cause
I still really just like what Halflings did this game. I think it was really fun and
yeah,
interesting. But
yeah,
I to give kudos to Mermaids too. Like they did really capitalize on the fact that there would be pretty easy. There was going to be pretty easy cult points, and they made sure to get that 2 key town, which we said was going to be very valuable. They've done a lot of really cool things too.
just yeah, and yeah, Power Town for mermaids. Getting
That
it.
is the one downside. Mermaid's Town took a long time to
Yeah.
form here, and there's nothing good left for them.
Mm-hmm. Though they might be able to get another getting a spade, like a spade power action, and just
Getting another dwelling out.
yeah,
Yeah,
going
never
up to
mind.
14 on.
Oh, well, we said they needed to find 3 spades, and they are going to. You're right. Wow, so halflings are actually only going to take 3rd on network. So
Yep.
maybe, yeah, this is going to be a really fascinating post game because mermaids are going to get 12 on network then, and dwarves still have 18, and so like what a tight game.
Yeah, I still think halflings will actually get it though. Not
I
as much as we thought.
I think you're right, but I don't know for sure. And so yeah, I'm this is the points adding up here at the end is going to be very intriguing.
Well, it depends if you want to level into math or not.
I'm trying not to, so that we can have
You
all
know
the
you want to.
suspense
Come on,
and the real
you know
reactions
you
with
want to.
everybody else. I agree. At this, this is the one, maybe it's not really an issue with Terra Mystica, but yes, it's perfectly calculable. And if you're fast at the math, which I can be,
Yeah.
you would already know who's won this game. I'm guessing some people in the Twitch chat have already figured it out. It probably is halflings, but I'm not paying attention to any of that. I'm trying to be excited with everyone else.
They're mostly telling you that you can't do math unless you get your pencil.
All right. Yes, that's fair. That's a good call. All right. Anyhow,
So,
we just got pass coming here. There's nothing left to do, and then the great tallying, as I believe it was named by NerdCube, is coming. So we go through all the cults. Now we're gonna go through network, and then the sneaky bonus resource points for a couple of these factions.
Yeah, for now, like only Europe dwarves and darklings have like a couple points of resources.
Yeah, I have to say,
for.
getting the two 8 VP towns for halflings was really a great outcome for them. Like, halflings made a really good move to make sure to beat darklings to that 8 VP town because the cult swing versus darklings here is so big.
Oh yeah, definitely. They probably assessed like who they were going up against. Like,
I mean, if darklings get that. If Darklings get the cult town instead of Team Asia, that's a huge swing. But yeah, I mean, Team Asia's already at 149 before network. So I was saying they were the 140s, but they're clear into the 150s. So Wow, though, look at how close. I thought Team Europe was out of
Yeah,
this, but my God, this was a close game. Holy smokes. So Team
and
Asia does have it. Team Canada was second, and I guess I was right that Team Europe was out of it technically, but I mean
yeah,
by one freaking point. So
yeah, just a couple of points, and then Halflings flying over everybody's head.
Halflings are in the lead by a lot. But again, this is what this sort of game I love, and it's what we've been getting in the International Clash. Like top to bottom, 13-point difference, super close, really well played, clever by everybody. Team Europe won week one, and so it's not that big of a deal for them to get fourth. Team Brazil getting only third here after getting fourth in week one. They're in a bit of trouble. Team Asia taking advantage of their home field pick, proving that their knowledge of fjords comes through here. I love everything about what FireX did here today at Team Asia.
Yeah, it was just so great to see. Like, and just going through the statistics, it's just what you said about getting these coin power actions. So they got it. Halflings got them 3 times out of the whole games, and most of the time just like
Yeah.
But places you wouldn't expect getting it. It's just that's such a premium.
I mean, the game did break pretty well for Team Halflings, which is a bit of what they said. But yeah, I mean, they also have 33 points on the pass cards because they just got pass tiles every round. And part of why Team Europe's game went well or poorly is they only got pass tile once. Team Canada also only got pass points once, and so like that was a big shift in the game too. Team Asia, the pass tiles were just pretty, and the coin actions just came, and yeah, just cool stuff. For stats nerds, I'm not going to go too deep, but the total victory point awarded is fascinating this game. It was 141, 142, 141, 143. So like pretty much everybody scored like identical, although some paid a little more for power than others, and obviously we started at different values, but like everybody just had really like solid and good games here. Halflings did prove to have the best, and that can often happen. Like, Halflings are tough on this map, and I thought they were supposed to be the 30 faction, and the game broke well for them, and they played really cleverly. I just am in love with it still.
Yeah, that shows that it's like good testament to the various possibilities of scoring in this game. It's just like it's not only Earth one. It's like you had 7 or 8 possibilities to win to score points. It's just like really good to say.
You just start at the most points. You don't need Earth one, and you just hit the pass tiles well. You hit the round tiles well. You mess with your opponents. Team Canada was indeed the biggest opponent of Halflings, and Halflings repeatedly like kind of got in their way with hexes. They took Earth 3 to steal the Earth Cult away, and all of that looks pretty important to Halflings winning and making sure Darklings doesn't beat them.
Yeah, it's just
but that's also just like really good skill too, though. Like identifying who your opponents are and like who you need to be worried about is oftentimes very tough. As we saw this game, we were jumping around constantly, and to be fair, for good reason. Everybody turned out to be very close, so it's very hard to judge who you need to worry about. But
yeah, Team Asia. Yeah, Team Asia definitely got it right.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I think Team Canada also just had some really good plans overall. I think they did a lot of really nice stuff, and this was they had the bye week one, and so getting a second place as your only result thus far is like quite good. They're still very much in the running for this thing, and I do think they had I think they had good stuff, and yeah, I do think they had tough breaks. I mean, Halflings were blocking them like kind of often. They just were running low on space. The pass tiles were very not breaking well for Darklings. To get only 3 pass points is such a shame when the trading post and dwelling tile are in the game and they built so many of those. Just a really bad break, right? Like if Darklings just get a pass tile once more and Halflings don't, I mean, that also is just the difference in the game. So
yeah, definitely. And it's like one thing I really liked is that looking back on the disruption that Halflings put, it's like they did put with their early play of taking the single spade and depriving dwarves from leech. It like looks back to how to the efficiency of their disruption, denying someone like early resources to develop well, because I guess they're like Halflings. are winning over dwarves by about 13 points. But if you give them more leech early on, the difference like from the round one would have been like complete slowball, like very different side of the game.
Yeah.
That's something I really liked.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And it looks like we do have, or at least we do have FireX have a tweet on the call with us.
We're getting there as usual. We'll get a winners interview. But yeah, I really am happy that Team Asia picked this map. This is probably my favorite format currently for Terra Mystica. And hey, FireX, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Congrats on the big win. I loved everything
thanks.
about your game.
You still there?
Yeah.
No, he's saying hi. So, like, things did seem to break pretty well for you, but like, what were some of the key moments for you, in your opinion, on the game here?
Team building the 4 dwellings in round 2 was really good.
Yeah, they were like all this going up to 2 shipping and just dishing out all these dwellings was really innovative. We loved it there, but just loved it on this side of the game.
It sounds like Team Canada was a little annoyed at you, felt like you were blocking them a bunch. Were you guys trying to kind of somewhat make Darkling's life tough, or?
No, not really.
You were mostly just playing your own game?
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got pastels for the final 5 rounds of the game. That seems pretty fortuitous. How happy was your team when the pastels just kept falling to you?
Yeah, I think that was really good also. 33 points.
Yeah. It was crazy. And then the final thing that I thought went just so well.
Yeah.
The coins, exactly, right? Like round 5 and 6, you guys are 4th seed, and you get the coins both rounds somehow. Like, oh.
Yeah, we took coins 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite solid. I was wondering, like, what was exactly your plan? Like, you went early on onto a single spade game, into Earth 2, into upgrade shipping to twice for Dwelling Rush round 2. Was that your plan all along when you started building on Halflings? Did you foresee what's going up this way?
I think more or less that was a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, were you always taking Earth 2 in round 1, or did you just know that you needed a spade, and then Earth 1 ran out?
Spade first, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. The spade did turn out really important to you. I wasn't sure about it at the time, but...
Yeah, well, especially getting all this power from Darklings and Mermaids on the upgrade. That was really great. Yeah,
well, anyhow, I was just absolutely delighted with your game. It was awesome to watch. It was really cool and creative, and I'm really glad that your team picked this map and then showcased one of the toughest factions on this map. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, that was quite an interesting game. Yeah, we almost got blocked by dwarves and dark cubes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks much for joining us and sharing some thoughts there. And yeah, big congrats on the win and taking the lead in the international clash standings.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. All right, that's gonna be everything for us. Thank you very much for having followed the second game of the International Clash. Thank you, Team Asia, for this proper lesson on half lanes. Thanks everyone, it's been absolutely a great game. Thanks for Twitch chat. And have a good Saturday.
Indeed. Thanks, everyone. Great game. Thanks for casting with me, Bowser. And we'll see you all next week, next Saturday for the next International Clash game.